Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Weekly Games Chat. I am your host, Chris, as always, joined by my co-host, Shaun.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
And returning to the podcast, John.
I'm back.
Yeah.
And
the boys are back in town.
Hey, they've missed me. I can peek.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
I am peeking. I can even hear that.
Well, no, that's different because these are just our headphones.
Oh, yeah?
We have volume for those.
Yeah, I'm more so looking.
Peakage happens on the meterage.
Yeah. You're at that point of like right before in Mission Impossible where he's like, toast.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're almost there.
You going to ask me how my trip was?
You had a trip?
Yeah, you went on a mysterious trip.
You didn't tell him where I was.
No,
honestly,
no one knew.
I couldn't remember.
We joked about how you were like,
remember where I was.
We joked like I asked you two things the day before, like you left, right? Mm-hmm. But I think you were busy that day, so you did not reply back to me. I said like, "Hey, are you going to do the show notes?" And I said, "Where are you going?"
And the reason I did the show
nothing.
notes,
Ghosted.
The reason I did the show notes is because of that question. I saw it.
Yeah.
But in my mind,
you replied.
well, it's not that I replied, but in my mind, I said, Chris expects me to do show notes, so I'm going to do show notes.
Right.
When in fact, in his mind, he's like, he didn't respond. I better do show notes.
Exactly. Lack of communication.
That was fine.
Yeah.
They were done.
It worked out. It
was a top-notch show. We had a great guest.
I just delete all his stuff and use mine.
Well, the only thing we technically didn't report was the Shaggy part, even though that was a big thing in the gaming world because people thought he was going to be in Mortal Kombat. He was not.
Why did they ever think he was going to be in Mortal Kombat?
They
I just
didn't
don't
think. They just wanted him in there.
Yeah. I was like, Hanna-Barbera is never going to allow a children's character to go into a game where people are massively murdered and decapitated.
Even though it would be pretty epic to see.
I mean, the show was about a bunch of hippies in a van with smoke coming out the top. You know they were smoking dope.
Sure.
And
did it have smoke in it?
And Shaggy and the dog always went off together, and then the other three always
had to
went
get
off
a
together.
Scooby snap.
Well,
Why they have to need snacks, man.
But they were all about peace and love.
But we went to see my brother.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Wait, you have a brother?
Yeah.
He does.
What?
He's an older brother. He turned
the better
40.
one.
He actually turned 40 yesterday, but that we were going to visit him this last weekend, but it was Valentine's Day weekend, and so flights were astronomical.
Where's he at?
Denver, Colorado. Well,
that's right.
Littleton, Colorado.
Over there in Colorado.
Yeah, and so my parents showed up. He was surprised. He didn't realize they were coming. My sister Katie showed up the next day. He was completely surprised. He didn't know they were coming, and they said, "Is Jonathan coming?" And they said, "No, he had a thing. Aiden had a thing, so he couldn't come." So 12:30 that night,
who shows up?
We roll up at the house.
Yeah.
I knock on the door. How about my brother comes to the house, comes to the door?
Please tell me he had a gun.
With a pistol.
Nice.
And he looks at me and he goes, "Okay." That happened.
That's awesome.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
South Park creators grew up in Littleton, Colorado.
Really?
Yep. That's supposedly a lot of South Park is based on it.
Funny story. The first time, for those who don't know, Littleton, Colorado is where Columbine High School is.
Yeah.
So that's where the shooting happened.
I did not know that.
The first time I ever went out to see my brother, it was before he got married. He had just started out at the company he's still at to this day. We were driving around. He was showing me around, and we pulled up. He showed me the school. So we get out of the car, and we walk into the school. For some reason, the school was open. I mean, it was on a weekend. We saw a janitor in there, and we walk up to her. And my brother, I don't know if you've met him or not.
I have not.
He's very diplomatic. Mm-hmm. He doesn't really say the wrong things.
Unlike him.
Fair enough. So we walk up to the janitor, and he says to her, and I quote, "Is there anything to see?"
Oh.
Now, what he meant by that was, is there some sort of memorial or some place where we can go and pay our respects?
In remembrance or anything like that, yeah.
She didn't take it that way. Now, she didn't blow up at us,
right.
But she said, really, guys, to be honest, we just assume forget about it. But you know, I brought it up to him over the weekend, and he was like, "Yeah, I remember that. That did not come out right."
Nah.
But anyway, I didn't mean to depress anybody.
No, you didn't.
We had a good time.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't know that was there. So,
everyone have a good week though. Besides trips and all that.
What else did we do this week? What has this past week been? Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I don't care about
weekend.
the holiday.
Well, yeah, I mean stuff. I just had like a basic week.
I watched a lot of stuff, but
That's
that was
pretty
about
basic.
it.
I finished Narcos Mexico,
Ooh.
which is top notch.
Is it really?
So you ready to take the test on Mexican cartels?
Yeah, I'm legit. I'm caught up. And I learned through it's crazy how they really do weave. I mean, they obviously weave. They have a thing that pops up when you first watch it, and it says this is based on true events, but of course we're going to fictionalize some of the locations and people and places, yada yada yada.
Yep.
But I learned about how basically the I guess you could say the war on drugs started, and why it is like it is, or was like it was between the Mexican government and the United States government. And it's the Narcos. The shows are just fantastic on Netflix. They do a great job.
I've heard good things.
Yeah, they do
Bang
good.
up job.
I have not watched. People around me, my whole group of friends and family, have watched the Plain Sight thing that you talked about.
Abducted in plain sight.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and when the wife,
I like to call it stupidity in plain
When
sight.
my wife
'cause
watched
that's
it?
what it is. Yeah, she was ticked. That's all.
when my wife watched it, it's fine, guys. Don't say your wife. Don't
dang
do
it.
it. It's cool.
Sorry.
Let's just
Sorry.
sit here and be friends and talk.
Look, I was out for a week. I'm kind of.
But when she
rusty.
watched it, she was like, I don't know.
Who watched it?
Nope. You don't get that, John. You don't you don't get to fix that. Yeah. She was like, oh my goodness. So
Yeah.
have you seen it?
Yeah, in defense of this family, which there's
It's hard
don't take that the way it sounds.
Yeah.
The documentary doesn't really touch on this a lot. They kind of it's sort of over here on the side. You know it's there, but they don't really dive into why or what may have motivated this family to be this tone deaf.
Yeah.
And if anybody listening is offended, I do apologize. But I wonder if it had anything to do with the centralized community family
That's
base
why I took it.
that is the Mormon church.
Yeah.
That leads them to trust and be a little bit more naive. Granted, this was, 30 years ago? If
Yeah, the
not
world was
more?
different,
This
obviously.
is before even like in the Mormon church they had a lot of reformations in the late 70s.
Sure.
And there
people,
was a lot of taboo stuff like where if you did this, it was not good for the church. The way it was with Catholicism back in the day too.
Oh, big word. I
and
like
people,
it.
I don't know
Said
if
it good.
I don't know if people were very conscious of that type of
Yeah.
evil.
Right. There was a point in time where that kind of evil in the world, people just didn't.
People weren't
was-
exposed to it.
Yeah.
When I was watching it, that was my first take on it. I was like, this feels like kind of like when, to give another example, In Cold Blood, which is written by Truman Capote. If you ever saw the movie Capote, that's what it's based on. But like a lot of people say that before that book came out, they just didn't realize that things like this could happen in the middle of America because the perception was, of course, anyone who looks at world history, a lot of the biggest crime of those days was really centralized in major cities. So the farmlands, they always felt they were safe. And Salt Lake City is kind of in the same way. Like people just did not think like, wait, someone can come in and just take advantage of us in some way to abuse us and misuse our trust. But he's been part of our community. We go to church with him. He's always a nice guy.
Yeah, we
stand-up guy.
We look at it because I've seen all the Facebook posts, and I'm right there with the shock and all that stuff. But we look at it through the lens of what we know today,
Right?
And I'm not defending their actions. I'm not even defending their naivete. But I mean,
naivete.
my father. Not to disclose too much about my family. My father moved him and his wife.
His
wife.
Okay.
It's okay. I out to Georgia. My mother and father grew up in California. They moved out to Georgia before I was born. But one of the reasons my dad has always told me that he did that was to get away from his family because there were certain indiscretions that were kept in the family. No one went to the police. Family, we brushed it under the rug, and my dad said, "Screw you guys.
I'm out.
I'm going home.
Screw you guys.
I'm leaving."
Hey, that's a good way to bring it
because
all
if
back.
you touch my wife or touch my kids in any type of way, I'm going to have to kill you, and I don't want to have to do that.
Yeah.
He had
So
your wife
people,
in there.
people think that this is just some sort of. I mean, in my experience, in a lot of families, it's commonplace. It's like,
I think more people are private than not.
yeah,
And that's why, like, you see like for instance, domestic violence and all that, it's usually a neighbor who's calling, right?
Yeah.
The police, because they're like, hey, this is about to pop off. You should probably get over here before someone does something dumb.
And if I didn't articulate that well, I'm sorry.
But I think you did well, John.
Thanks, man.
I think you did.
The art thing, so I got around
Welcome back.
I kind of said that I saw it a couple of weeks ago and it was getting a lot of hype. I finally actually did sit down and watch it. Russian Doll on Netflix.
It's on my list. It's legit, I think.
I'll go on record, say right now, that is the best Netflix show since Stranger Things that I've seen. Like, that is a great, fully realized show. And it is
First season or second season?
it's the first season.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Stranger Things is up there, but so is Ozark. And so is
No. Like, it's just, I liked it. At first, I was worried because at first I was worried. I was like, this feels like it's going to be Groundhog's Day, and it's not Groundhog's Day at all. For those who are wondering, it starts off
on Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, Pops Tony Phil.
First couple of episodes are really nice up, and you're like, okay, where's this going? And then it goes somewhere, and when it goes somewhere, you're like, whoa, that was really well set up. Like, I didn't even quite note this.
Too. I like when other things go somewhere.
It's hard. It's one of those shows you don't want to give away a lot. So I would tell people, look, just it lives up to the hype. If you like things like that, especially if you like her, Natasha Lyonne from Orange Is the New Black.
Yeah,
she's been in a lot of things through the years.
She was in American Pie.
She was in American Pie.
You can't even say what it's about other than Russian dolls.
Okay, no. The basic premise is that. The basic premise,
or is that a metaphor for something?
No. The basic premise is that it starts on her birthday when she's turning 36, and basically the very first shot of the show, anytime she dies, that's where she goes back to. And you're thinking, okay, is this going to be, like I said, is this going to be like Groundhog's Day where it's just looping? It's a lot closer to something.
Live, die, repeat.
It's very much closer to that. But even then, it's very different where it goes.
So it takes place in...
Yeah. So
what? No.
What happens?
Does it take place in Russia?
No.
What's the point of the Russian dolls?
Aren't Russian dolls the little dolls that have layers?
I think so.
It's what you call...
Maybe that's what it's going for, John.
Yeah, maybe.
It's kind of... Maybe you should watch it and you'll find out.
Hey, you know what I did watch too? And I just remembered it. So the preview for this movie did not sell me.
Okay.
At all. What sold me was my friend saying, hey, let's go watch it. And I went, oh, okay. Alita.
I want to see that.
Amazing.
Thanks for calling me.
Go watch Alita. I'll go again.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was
Let's go.
It was so good.
It's not 3D, is it?
I think you can watch it in not 3D.
Yeah, if you go to IMAX, if you go to IMAX, it's in 3D. But that's because it's produced by James Cameron.
Did you see it in IMAX?
No. I saw it in Dolby Atmos theater sound. It was amazing. That's my official Dolby Atmos.
Atmos.
I'm actually happy because it's starting to pick up again. Where like there's movies I want to see. I've wanted to see that. Actually, surprisingly, because I promised Aaron I would, and it's gotten good reviews. The wrestling movie about Paige, like that got 92% fresh ratings.
I want to see that too.
John, what movie is that?
Oh, Fighting with My Family is what it's called.
Oh,
yes.
With The Rock.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's why I said the wrestling movie.
Interestingly enough, speaking of wrestling,
You're dumb.
my friend Adam got me to subscribe to a month free to the WWE Network.
It's worth it.
Dude.
Yeah.
You're in. You're back in.
It is so
It's the 1990s
awesome.
again for you.
Do you love Nitro? You can watch every episode of Nitro there ever was.
Why would you do that when you can watch Raw as War?
Nitro was always better at that time.
Degeneration X is going to the WWE Hall of Fame. Fun
Yes,
fact.
they should.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Y'all got nothing on that, huh?
Wow, man, break it down.
I watched.
I like it. That's good.
I watched the classic fight of Mankind and Undertaker on top of the steel cage,
Hell in a Cell?
where he gets thrown off the steel cage.
And you're like, everyone says the one where he gets thrown off into the table is the one everyone's like, but that's not the one. It's when he actually gets slammed through.
That's not the one. What?
Like
is the one.
everyone thinks like the one that like he almost died, right?
Yeah.
He's got on record and he said like it's not when he went off the top of the cage onto the table. He's like, no, that's kind of normal for him. It hurts, but he can take that, right? But there's one late where I think he choke slams him.
Undertaker choke slams him, and they didn't expect the screen on top to break.
And he almost broke his back, they said, or something like that, or like crushed his rib cage.
The chair falls on his face, and if you look after the fact, his tooth came out of his nose, and it just sat there dangling in his mustache. This is if I didn't say it, it was
Mick Foley.
Mick Foley, the legend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cactus Jack, if you will.
And
Dude
just,
love.
Cactus Jack.
Bang bang.
But yeah, that was.
Mr.
And
Socko.
on top of that, Undertaker had a broken foot for that match. So had he been standing on that spot when he slammed him through,
He was going down too.
he was. That would have been bad. But I had nightmares about that one. But
the other thing I watched this week, finally got around to Bohemian Rhapsody. I've got to get through all of these. Like
he's going to say he don't like it. He's going to be the one person in the world that hates it. Watch.
I don't hate it.
Told you.
But from a guy who follows the Academy Awards, I'm like, I see why this got nominated. I'm like, it's nominated because people really like Queen. And to be honest, like what it does very intelligently is that it's really just a 2-hour mixtape of Queen. Like literally the Live Aid they pretty much almost show in full towards the back half of the movie there.
Well, if you I think if you watch the Blu-ray, I think it actually has they didn't show this, the whole Queen set.
Yeah.
But like as the movie cast, they didn't show all that in the
No, yeah,
movie.
there's like 1 or 2 songs that got cut from the final cut.
I want to watch it.
I mean, it's not bad. I think, like, if you're the thing I'll say, I've said this, is, like, I think he's really good when he's on stage. Like, that's the part of I give them a lot of credit, is that they do capture Queen's live stage presence. But the rest of it, for one, it's not really an accurate take on Freddie Mercury. If, like, you see the way he's acting in private and all that, like, if you've looked at interviews of him or anything, he's not really the way they kind of cast him. They kind of make him more like Elton John, which is really weird. But I mean, it's not bad. It's just, it's kind of like, hey, if you're a Queen fan, you're going to like this. If not, I don't think it's going to.
You might not. If you're a Queen fan and you think you know stuff like you just pointed out, maybe you don't like it. I don't know.
Yeah, so, there is one big plot like thing that's completely not true that's in this movie.
Well,
I hate it when biopics exaggerate. They all do it.
Oh, yeah, to some extent.
Yeah.
It's very, very rare.
You think he's going to get an Oscar?
Is his? I think he's got a good shot just because Bradley Cooper's already got one, and he would probably be the other.
What's he got one for?
He's got one for American Sniper.
Did he win for that?
Yes.
Did my voice go up like that?
It did, John. It did. It happened.
Though I will say I won't be surprised. I think it's between him probably and Christian Bale. Because Christian Bale's gotten a lot of praise
for Vice.
For Vice.
Right. Yeah.
Which is still the one performance, like at the end of that movie, creeped me out because I was like, man, that's Dick Cheney right there.
Yeah, he gets to be Dick Cheney.
It's just,
I love a good Dick Cheney.
Yeah, he was,
Richard Cheney.
That's funny.
But, it's not anything that wowed me, but it's not anything.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not great.
I was like, well,
it's not bad.
It's kind of like our intro.
I was kind of like
today.
This was top notch.
I was like, well, that's the last. If that's the last Bryan Singer movie that's ever made, then I guess okay, good for you. You went out on top.
I haven't heard much about him lately.
He just had something canceled because of everything, his controversies and all that. He's got a lot of controversies right now.
Oh,
he's not having. Let's just say he will not be directing the next X-Men film.
I did see I forget the name of the next X-Men film, but it looked
Dark Phoenix.
That thing looked good, man.
If I recall, I'm trying to think what happened to it, if it came out or not. Wasn't there also
not out.
There's another X-Men movie, or like at least mutant world-based movie that was supposed to be like a horror film of young mutants in an asylum that are trying to be cured and all that, and it's treated like a horror film. I remember seeing the trailers for it last year.
You're watching way too much porn.
Yeah, dude.
I have not seen anything since.
Your X-Men was something totally different. Triple X-Men. Good stuff.
Yeah, that's
They all call it Beast. Why do they all call it that? I don't understand. It's not even blue.
That's not a Cyclops, or is it?
It's got one eye.
I did rewatch Deadpool 2's on on HBO Go now.
Yeah.
And I had to rewatch that just for the part where. Have you guys both seen it?
Mm-hmm.
When he's fighting,
I have. Shaun has.
when he's fighting Juggernaut, and he goes, "Hey, big guy, sun's getting low."
Oh, I never made that connection because I saw Avengers 2 one time, and then I watched it on the plane last weekend. I'm like, I haven't seen this in a long time. Oh,
That's the one they tend to forget out of all of them.
if you guys might have missed this because I did. Also on the plane, I watched Overlord,
The zombie one that's like World War II.
quote unquote zombies, but
That's
I wouldn't. But I
produced
really,
by JJ, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I totally missed that one.
yeah. It's like they're on a mission in World War II around the Normandy invasion.
And then
And
zombies.
they go into a French village, and the Nazis are experimenting on the villagers. So
As
good.
they do.
It is so.
Do you gobble up World War II stuff like I do?
I like World War II.
I just like reviewing the history and the stories that came out of it. And
Yeah.
it just fascinates the bejesus out of me, John.
Very interesting part.
It's crazy. The world, Chris,
Was at war.
was at war.
But definitely check that out if you haven't seen it.
Word. Where is it at? On Netflix or?
It's not on Netflix. It's not on Netflix. I don't think it's on any streaming services unless you buy it right now. But you can rent it. You can boo. But you can. I'm actually planning to buy it at some point. It was brilliant.
You can also rent A Star Is Born now. It's out there.
I don't want to see that movie at all.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
Yeah, 'cause you gotta get ready for.
I wanted to see it, but just that was one of those movies. I'm like, I'm not going to the theater by
Do
myself.
the
Why?
does the
it would have been weird.
you went to see La La Land in the theater?
That's right.
That's different. That's a drama.
No, it's
That's
a
hardcore-
musical.
That's a Damien.
They
Chazelle.
sang in it.
One didn't have I love Ryan Gosling. Okay,
I love Lady Gaga. Go watch it for me.
I will.
Thank you.
I'm gonna
I saw
be
John
falling.
Wick 2.
What?
Oh.
Finally?
Really?
Way to join
Like
us.
3 years late.
But hey,
Not quite.
John Wick 3's almost out, huh?
It is.
So is Captain Marvel. I just want to say that. I want to say that every week. Dude.
I hope the movie
Dude.
is better. I don't like Brie Larson. I just don't like her.
Go to the thing. Go to
You
topic.
didn't like her in Scott Pilgrim Saves the World? She was the ex-girlfriend.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't like her like when you looked at her?
You didn't like Room?
I don't want to get into it, and you guys don't want me to get into it.
Oh, that
We
was-
one of
do.
those.
We
It's one of
we
those.
do, but we know.
that's a
just-
Zaxby's talk.
She's up there with old J.K. Rowling, huh?
Oh, because of what she did to what's his face when he won.
Your favorite people, John.
He's a huge Casey Affleck fan, apparently.
Am I now?
Isn't that where it all started?
Yeah, man. It's time.
Is it time?
It is.
Let's do this.
Okay.
I'm like 3/4 through this energy drink.
We didn't even talk about the NBA.
I'm buzzing,
All-Star.
Chris. It was like 170 to 140.
I'm
We didn't talk
excited.
about NBA All-Star Saturday night. then.
I'm excited to
Boo.
hear this.
That
I'm
dunk
really
on
excited
Shaq.
to hear this.
He didn't dunk on Shaq. He dunked over Shaq.
He did not push, though. Like, he literally, if you watch it, he did not push up. He just kind of had his hand on his back for stability.
What are you
What?
talking about?
When he dunked on Shaq.
He didn't dunk on Shaq.
Like, literally, Shaq was there, and then he went over Shaq.
Shaq agreed to it.
Yeah.
Shaq didn't shack him
You're,
up.
You're kind of taking the wrong interpretation.
You
of
mean
dunk
the
on.
literal
Yeah.
interpretation?
Yeah, like literally, here was Shaq, and he went like this.
Well, in basketball, when you say you dunked on somebody, that could mean that now you've posterized them, and that is not the case of what happened at all.
Because what was it? Dennis Smith dunked on J. Cole, and then the other
He's
guy
named.
from,
He's doing some crazy stuff now.
and then the dude from Atlanta apparently tried to dunk on a plane, and that didn't go well. Like kicked it.
Snakes on a plane.
It was like a
Samuel L. Jackson.
Wright brothers plane. It was really weird.
See,
Anyways.
John, the Wright brothers.
Can I tell you, my brother has 2 little girls.
Yeah.
Adorable.
Yeah.
So his
Pivot.
movie collection. No, it's not a pivot. It's not a pivot. His movie collection is Frozen, Tangled, Monsters Inc., Disney Princess this, Disney
Yeah.
Princess this, Snakes on a Plane.
That's fine.
He loves that movie.
I've never seen it. Fun fact.
Great terrible movie.
It's a great.
I love
movie.
great terrible movies. Right?
Yeah.
Actually, the story goes
Oh man.
they asked. Go ahead.
No.
Whatever.
No. Go ahead.
They actually asked when they were asking Samuel L. Jackson to do the movie. The story goes, he goes, "What is it, MFer?" And they go, well, it's about this, and it's basically about snakes on a plane. He goes, I'll tell you what, you call it Snakes on a Plane, I'll do the movie.
That was the working title. Yeah. And then he basically said, you keep it.
Sometimes working titles are better than the actual titles.
It's like, you give me a purple lightsaber, I'll be in your movie.
Like Project Scorpio. Way better than Xbox One X to me.
What's it called now? Project something is
Durango?
the new one.
No, Durango was 360.
Yeah. It's not Brazil.
What was Project Switch?
Dolphin?
Dolphin. It wasn't.
No. That was GameCube.
It was called something cool like that for real.
They had something because
Yeah.
everyone always does that same thing where they get used
called
to the
it
project
that for
name.
2 years, and I can't remember what they called it.
Yeah, they do the project name for like 2 years, and everyone's like, they should just keep the project name. They never keep the
They never
project name.
do, but they should. They should.
Not for Switch.
Switch is way better.
Switch has been magical.
Hey, dude. The Nintendo Direct was magical.
Oh, gosh. We'll get to that.
You can't talk about that yet.
What?
That's
But
in the future.
It happened. The future.
There's a barrier right now. It doesn't exist right now.
In the future.
Well, I'm excited to hear about this topic.
Are you?
I am.
Okay.
We got to talk. Wait.
We do?
What are we covering today?
We're doing Far Cry, right?
Oh, shoot.
Topic time.
The topic is...
Tell me.
Yeah.
No, it's not Far Cry.
No.
And
Even though that's out. That came out.
It's not yet Metro.
I don't know if you
And it's never going to be Crackdown 3.
That's on Xbox Game Pass, Chris.
Did you know that?
Fun fact.
No, it is. We teased this up last week.
Yeah, we did. Just the tip.
Apex Legends by
Dude,
Respawn.
out of
The game
nowhere, right?
No one knew was coming.
Game of the year.
It is a 90 Metacritic score, as in must play.
Yes,
right?
man, that's what they say.
So you sit there and you go, okay, this thing came out, and you got friends all of a sudden you start playing it on your PlayStation or your Xbox, and you go, well, I heard it on Weekly Games Chat. Maybe I should check it out. You download it. It's free. And then all of a sudden, after your tutorial session,
Loot box. Oh.
you're in a world.
In a world.
And you're like, I know this world, but I don't know this world.
Because you see those big, tall, green things in the back, and you're like, those were in Titanfall.
Right?
In the back. Never got to shoot them.
And then you enter a world of battle royale-ness it's unique, but it's
The
not
likes of which we've never
But
seen.
we have. It's so weird. I gotta sneeze and I'm holding it.
It's like
this is weird and stuff.
the best. I really feel like
Sometimes I wish they could see what we did.
Right.
people sometimes forget, I think, with Respawn, just because of the fact that Titanfall started out as an Xbox exclusive, and the fact that they left Activision, all that kind of stuff. Well, got forced out of Activision. That like these dudes that are running this studio, they're the same dudes that invented a formula that is still selling tons of games every year through Call of Duty. Like all that is the people at this studio, and it shows. And it's because they've done something that. Versus like what it feels like with DICE and what we've seen for the Battlefield eventual Battle Royale that's supposed to be coming. It's like they stepped back and they didn't just say, let's figure out how to make this work in Titanfall. They said, what's every Battle Royale out there right now doing? And then also, what are shooters in general doing right now? And what is successful? What is
Put
working?
your hands down.
And how can we bring them together and fuse it into something that works in our universe? Because, like some people are going like, wait, it's Titanfall, but there's no Titans. And that's within 5 minutes of playing this game, you don't care. You just don't.
At all.
Which is something, if you told me in the original Titanfall there was not going to be Titans, I would have been like, okay. And I would have moved on, right?
Well, I think what really helps is it's not called Titanfall Legends. It's not called Titanfall anything. It's not called Apex Titanfall. Nothing to do with Titans. So if you go in with the knowledge that this is the same, this is the exact same game. These are the same, same studio, all that stuff. You like Chris said, you quickly go. It does not matter. You go through that training session like I mentioned, and then you're immediately having fun and things make sense. And I don't know how to explain that any better way.
No.
It's to me it's the current. I think that it's the current must-play battle royale.
I just gave John a
John, the old guzzle mouth that you guys just heard.
Sorry, guys.
It's all good. Yeah, it's good stuff, man.
And it looks great. It really does.
It does look great. When you play it on PS4, it's one of those games that definitely turns on the turbo jet engine version of your.
What have you been
PS4.
playing it on, by the way?
I've been playing a mix of both Xbox and PS4. To be truthful,
Because of crossplay?
I would like to play it more, right? Mm-hmm. But of course, I had to start pivoting to what we're talking about next week, and then of course,
you already bought it.
This is the one thing. This is the one thing that sucks is that I'm like pivoting to that, right? And then this free game that no one saw coming comes out and is the greatest thing of the year so far, and like I've got to go through this, then I got to go through Anthem. Then I gotta go through freaking. Then I get like a break.
Dude, I'm nervous about Anthem. Sidetrack. But go ahead.
I'm not. I've played it. But anyways, then Division and Sekiro Shadows died twice. Like there is a lot of stuff. So I go, crap. When the hell am I going to play this? And unlike,
wait a minute,
some people who want to balance between the two things, right? Like my balance game is NBA 2K, as you know. Like I've committed. I play a game a day. You guys saw me when I was playing my game earlier. So it's hard to find time for me to play this. But I've definitely, every time I've picked it up, I've been very much impressed for about the 10 hours.
So can you, Shaun, you can say obviously what you were going to say, but I'd love to know what's the premise and why is it called Apex?
So the Legends part comes from a really cool way that they've allowed you to kind of be the person you are. Like if going back to like PUBG, you created this person that looked possibly like an office worker with a helmet, just looked kind of crazy and ragtag because you were in this like crazy fight, right? You're about to go down. You could run around barefooted if you want to. Fortnite does the thing where you have these characters that they have and you kind of pick them and you can buy their skins and they're kind of more fantasy, whimsical-ish. I don't know how to describe
much
it.
More. Yeah.
You know the Fortnite players, the way they look, right? There's someone running around with like crazy sparkly stuff on and all that. Call of Duty Blackout.
It just feels like Call of Duty.
It feels like Call of Duty. It's got characters from the Call of Duty game that if you play like the zombies or you play the multiplayer, you kind of get to know them. And this kind of introduces, at least for me, Chris, it did something kind of like Overwatch did.
Yeah,
where
that's what it's doing. It's doing a hero shooter.
It's got these heroes that have these special abilities, and all the other games I just named, none of that is the case. The people you play with, everybody has the same weapons, everybody has the same things. Correct. It's kind of like an even kill when it comes to that.
It's really all those other games primarily are just based on what loot are you finding and how does it help you, and then as far as teamwork, it's just how well can you coordinate versus this. It's so important, much like Overwatch, like when you get those teams together where they figure out what are the best combinations of players to work with as far as characters and, how to build up certain abilities. It gives you an advantage where if you're executing and playing each character the way they should be played,
it gives you an advantage.
It's really hard to defeat someone if you're just coming in just trying to shoot and run and gun.
Yeah.
Like, this is not that game necessarily, depending on what character you're using.
So there's 8 characters you choose from.
6 at the start.
6 at the start and 2 that you can purchase. Chris did mention it's a loot boxy kind of feel to it.
Which is also Overwatch.
It's also Overwatch. And you don't have to buy anything. No. You can literally earn anything you want to get the 2 characters that aren't initially unlocked.
Yeah.
I haven't bought them. I don't know if you did.
The only person I know who's had enough that they could go out there and buy them through earning it was Jeff. Like Jeff said he hasn't bought it, but he was like, "Yeah, I got enough to get them."
Yeah,
I'm sure Tate's got them.
I think I don't know if they either bought them or has them, but
yeah.
So, but each one of those characters present a different set of skills. Chris mentioned that they have specials that are building up.
Yeah,
no other game that is a current style of this game, they do not have specials. They have almost like subspecials too. Like
Is that like a special move or something?
Yeah, when I say special, think about an ultimate move or a special move that you do.
So
give an example. Yeah, Chris.
the one I've been using the most, because I always go towards the healers, is Lifeline.
Yeah.
Lifeline, her passive ability is that she will, I believe, heal herself over time, like very slowly. But her main first, like just any moment, like about every minute or so, 2 minutes, whatever it is, you can call down a heal bot. So it just drops it, and then it'll heal you. Anyone else walks up to it, they can heal. And then she gets an ultimate ability where it takes a very long time to build this up unless you're doing certain things to speed it up, and that's part of the strategy. Where when it will drop down, you can call in a drop pod that will have very, very good gear a lot of the time. At least I would say a lot of purple stuff on there, sometimes even up to gold.
Yeah.
Which like is just very vital because you could power up your team very quickly in a support way. Was it like the Wraith one? She's more of an offensive character, so she has a special where she can do like kind of a quick teleportation, like move across the screen where you can't be seen type thing, right? And then her ultimate is that she can open up portals that her whole entire team can go through. So on one hand, her main like every minute or so ability allows her to quickly move forward and get into position to do offensive attacks. But she's also good where if people are getting pinned down, she can get you out of a pretty tough situation through her portal ability, or like get people into position all at once without people detecting them for the main attack that you're about to go do.
And as Chris mentioned, the first one he talked about, Lifeline, she would be considered more like a healer. Like her symbol next to her when you're selecting her is almost like a blue, not a blue cross, a red cross kind of cross. It's a healer. The other one is an offensive player, and they have her little icon is like 3 bullets.
Yeah,
that indicates that you're offensive. There's also a quote unquote tank type character that'll protect you. So each character Chris mentioned has a passive ability that's going to happen without you doing anything. They have a smaller ability. He mentioned on Lifeline, it's the little bot that comes in, and then the main one was the thing he calls down. Well, on the tank, his little passive one is a bubble. It's a protective bubble.
Yeah, shield
that protects you. So imagine like one of your teammates go down, and you want to heal them. It's great to pop that protective bubble. You Destiny players think like the bubble that the Titan used to call in. So anyway, that does that, and then his main is a barrage of missiles that he can kind of at any like when he builds it up, he can say, I want those missiles to go there because I want I need to protect my team and maybe be very.
I definitely think if you're someone who is new to these kind of games, he would be the one I would suggest starting out to people because he's pretty, he doesn't require a lot. Like a lot of his stuff is common sense as to what you should do. Like, oh, we're being shot at. I should drop that shield now, huh?
Yeah.
And then like his passive ability is basically whenever he aims down the sights of a gun, a little shield comes up in front of him, like on his gun, so it's a little bit harder to hit him straight on.
A little bit more protective.
Yeah.
So is this a team of 20 teams in the arena?
Yes.
That's a thing that a lot of people may go, what if I just want to run solo? What if I want to run duos like some of the game modes the other games offer? What if I want to run quads? A lot of them have 4 players. The 3-player thing, I think, works tremendously.
They said they did a lot of tests, and that was the best balance, though.
Yeah,
there was a leak today that came out that I saw before we recorded that basically said that there's a leak that solo and duos are coming, which makes sense. It's like if you're Apex or I'm sorry, Respawn, you want to sell people this is the best way to play this game, but then eventually you do want to start to be like, well, why not do duos, right?
Duos,
yeah, 30 teams versus 20 teams.
Duos.
Solo, I'm not sure how that's going to go. It'll probably be. It seems good on paper, but I don't think that's why people are going to play this game.
I'll tell you, if I've gone in by myself to play, if I've queued up to play and just 2 random people come in, right? I've had tremendous success in communicating with them.
Tell me about the ping feature. Yeah.
With or without headsets, right? With or without communication. The way the system works is you're able to ping, and that means call out not only enemies, but loot boxes, items, markers. You can say, let's go that way. the other players are able to respond to that by also hovering over the ping and saying, okay, copy that, those kind of things. And it's a very just really simple way, but it works. It's
intuitive.
It's all tied
it's very
to,
intuitive. It's great.
It's all tied to one button. That's why it works well. Like there are ping features in other games, but usually it requires like a couple of movements to make it happen. This was like, no. We're going to just, because if you think about it, they could have made R1 another ability. That's kind of like what it would be if it was, if we were talking like something like Overwatch, that would be an ability. Instead, they're like, no. R1 has one purpose, and that's for pinging. It's just that there are very different variations you can do based on how you press it and how what combination you're doing it. And after to their credit, as soon as you go through the tutorial, it instantly clicks. It's not something that is very complicated to grasp versus like every time I go back to Fortnite, I'm like, wait, how do I set a mark on this map again?
It's a little different. And the tutorial at first, I was like, I got to go through a tutorial. Come on, I played these kind of games.
Exactly.
But it's perfect. You need that tutorial, and then you're good to go.
Plus, it has that dummy joke in it, which is hilarious.
The map itself, is absolutely, to me, fabulous. It's got...
Is it one map right now?
It's one really kind of big map. It's got a lot of depth to it. It's got a lot of ways to traverse it. For example, they have these ropes that they're hanging all over the map. Sometimes you can slide across the map, depending on if it's hung from one structure to another.
That's what I like is, like, for instance, when you're in the desert, you'll have these very high dunes, right? And they're complemented by very low areas right afterwards. And you can jump and slide or start running and then just go into a slide like you're kind of going into a crouch position. But instead, you'll just start sliding down. And you'll get speed by doing this down the hill. So it's a good way to get across the map quickly once you learn the mechanics. And then even like little things also where you run faster by putting away your weapons. And it's not a big deal to do so. And it's very easy to get them right back as soon as you do. So it's... Everything as far as the way the controls are laid out just feels like someone really thought about this and made sure that
it's not an overload.
Someone who is coming in, while they might not have the strategy in, I think you could be with a friend and you would not have a problem. Like you could run with us and between all of our friends, they would easily be able to communicate anything. You're like, wait, what do I do again? And you'd be like, oh, it's that simple.
What I like about the game too is a lot during the load screens. Game pop up the tips. Like almost any game you play that has a load screen pops up a tip. Hey, don't forget about doing this, or when you do this mission, do this. The tips that this game gives you are very
just a tip.
Yeah, first of all, it's just a tip, and they're not overloading you again on any kind of crazy information. One of the main ones is, hey, when you're running, holster your weapon. You'll run faster. And by golly, John, when you do that, you really do run faster, and you don't forget that.
You run like Tom Cruise when he's in Mission Impossible.
That's fast.
Or not very, but earlier on you mentioned you said purple and gold when you were talking about the type of items. That system is a very familiar system to any of the games that are like this too.
But even then, it builds on it in a way that I think is intelligent. Like just the fact that, for instance, what are they called? The ultimate accelerators.
Yeah.
And just like, so the idea of those ultimate abilities is that, they take about 5 minutes or so, I would say,
to fully charge. But you can find these things called ultimate accelerators that increase that time or decrease the time period. And even then, there's a rating system. So you just have a basic one that will kind of like slow, maybe like 25% faster versus, say, if you were to find a gold one, which would be top tier, which is going to be pretty much instantaneous. Yeah.
And even like you start to see like, oh, there's strategy to this. Like, for instance, I don't know how it was with your group. Whenever I was playing Jeff and them, they would always be having me pick those up because they knew I could call in the dropship and all that. And therefore, it would give them the potential to get some great gear right there.
Yeah.
Is Jeff liking it more?
Oh, Jeff loves this game.
All of our players that play it and have played the other games, we are all playing this game. We love this game.
Yeah. When I first, Jeff was playing it a couple of weeks ago when he was guesting on our show. Is that a word, guesting?
Yeah, it is. Now, I'll tell you that much.
I asked him that day at work. I said, "So how do you like it?" And his response was, and I quote, "Meh."
Yeah.
So it's interesting that
another cool thing.
Changed,
yeah,
so.
Another cool thing this game does is around the area there are these these objects that have like this glowing green around them.
Yeah.
And those are in the other games when you die and your teammates don't get to you, you're done.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
You're done. In this game, if you die, you get knocked down, you die, you have a box of all your goods that are there. Your team can come over to you because an icon shows up on their screen and grab, I don't know what's a good word.
The banner?
It's your banner. It's you. And if they can run to that machine-looking thing with the green glowy thing, you can get called back into the match.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
That's super cool.
So
I think there's a time limit on how long you can do it because Jeff had one time where it looked like he was picking me up and then it didn't happen.
No, your banner, just like the revive, you have a counter going around you. And I think you got about 90 seconds or something to get your people up. So that's a very cool thing.
can you have 3 medics on a team, or do you need to disperse?
It is one of those games where, much like how Overwatch has ended up doing it outside of a couple of modes, where pretty much it's one hero can be played per team. So we can't run as a team of lifelines. Someone can be lifelines.
So if you go in solo, it pairs you with like differentiating characteristics.
So when you go in and you're at your start screen, it does a automatic random who gets to pick what character first.
I think it's like whoever is the last pick is the jump master versus whoever's first pick. I thought that's how it worked.
I thought it was too, but I've been the second pick before, and I've been the jump master.
Okay, so maybe it's just not.
And I've been the jump master like 7 times in a row. I think it's all just. We say RNG? That doesn't fit, but it's all. It's all random.
I always give up the jump.
So
master.
you start at this screen, and you know your pick order. So if I'm first, it'll say my screen name picks first. If Chris is third, he'll be last, and then I could pick the character you want. So it's good to kind of be familiar with the different characters.
Yeah,
and then after that screen, you go to the classic, okay, we have to jump in this map screen. It's very cool because somebody on your team is designated as the jump master.
Yes.
So your teammates can pull up the map as you're loading in and recommend where you want to jump. And as a jump master, you can go, okay, cool. Or you can be a Richard and jump where you want to.
By the way,
right?
How is it that no other game seem to figure out the brilliance of like, hey, we'll let people when they first come out of the plane, when you're playing a team-based game, jump together.
Yeah.
Like, so
you're connected. The jump master jumps, and the 3 of you are on the jump master.
Like, you can break away, and that's fine. And actually, you can get to the ground quicker by doing that. But I just find it makes a lot of sense that you give that option to people because it's like
the other games, John, you jump willy nilly. You may talk about we want to jump there. Well, somebody gets a little like antsy, so they jump and they're gone, and you're like, are we jumping? Okay, I'm jumping, and then the third person jumps or the fourth person jumps, and before you know it, you're spread out. This game, you jump together, you can land together, and you can start searching for things together.
Or just like even the fact before you jump, like the jump master, he'll come out and say like, hey, I think we should go here. Like he'll set a ping on the map, and the other players can go ahead and they don't even have to say anything. They can just point towards it and again use that ping feature and say, yeah, that sounds good. Or they can say, I think we should go here instead. So you can kind of communicate whatever. Like, and this is the brilliance. Like you can tell when a great multiplayer game is being made. It's the ability to communicate with other people without having to actually say something. Like that's what people loved about Journey. Journey, the only thing you could do was chirp at people and jump up and down. But between those two movements and the way the gameplay actually was, most people could communicate what they were trying to do to each other where it just made sense. And this is probably one of the, if not the best example I've seen in a multiplayer shooter so far of being able to communicate with a team without really having to have a microphone or just like go through so many complicated command systems to make it.
I can't tell you, I really can't reiterate enough how awesome it is to load up. My friends either are already in matches together or no one's on, and I play with 2 random people and we communicate
perfectly,
flawlessly.
Yeah.
So this might not matter to a lot of people, and that's fine. Bare bones. Is there a bare bones story to it? It's 20 years after Titanfall 2. What's the point of all this?
The idea,
what are you guys fighting each other for?
The idea of this is that it's in the Titanfall universe, but basically you can go online and read this if you want.
The intro to the game also gives you a very, very small what you are and why you're there thing.
Basically, the idea is that this is kind of like a blood sport arena contest that like is very popular in that galaxy, and these are the legends, right? These are like the biggest ones, the heroes that everyone always wants to watch. So, I mean, it's just kind of like a sport contest for that world or that universe. It's not necessarily like there's some big bad or anything going on, because you don't play these games for a story, right? You know, if you want to do that, go play. Hopefully someday Titanfall 3 will come out and we'll get another story for that. But here it's just kind of like, I wonder if they're going to do something, and I hope they've taken so much from Overwatch in this game. I do hope that EA goes like, hey, let's kind of try to do what Overwatch does, which is, sure, in the game itself, there's not a lot of narrative outside of looking at the map, and you can kind of see certain things. But let's build a world as we introduce more characters and give them some more personality so we understand who they are. I know they've like released a couple of details, like you put the news on there last week. There's apparently someone who's part of the
Two other characters.
Yeah. LGBTQ. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Community. I would like to see that. Like, I want something like how when they did Wilson on freaking Overwatch, and you're like, oh wow, this is really cool, because you're just thinking monkey that runs around and
but there's a lot more to it.
Yeah, there's like an actual backstory. Like, that's where I hope they go with this.
Because Chris, you brought up that the character, like the voices and the little tidbits of jokes and things they say as you're playing. They're really, really cool. The robot is one of my favorite ones. He's hilarious.
Yeah. He's not it's really weird, because I think he's the weakest of the characters.
Yeah,
like,
but he's just so funny.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm sorry, I had to kill you. Or as you're playing, the game there's an announcer constantly announcing who the champion is, which means you have the most kills in the current round, and then so if the champion falls and you have the robot on your team, he goes, wow, that champion must have been not very good, or something. It's just funny stuff like that, and it's in that robot-y voice, and you find yourself laughing. It's good stuff.
So where do you guys see this game existing in a world dominated by Fortnite?
Oh, I think it's already at least gone through its first push. Right. I knew it was really big when I got to last Friday, right? So last Friday was the kickoff of the Overwatch League. And anyone who watches Twitch, usually when you get these mainstay esports, right, and they're having a kickoff or a big event, that's usually what's the most watched. Not because it's like a streamer that you're watching, right, but because it's a sports broadcast, to put in perspective. So, you know, everyone who wants to watch Overwatch is watching this one thing right now. They don't care about streamers. They care about the competitive league.
Yeah.
Despite the fact it was the middle of that and two big teams were playing at the time, Apex was still the most watched thing on Twitch at that moment.
And let me add another anecdotal tidbit. If you go to the wiki page and you look at reception, on the very bottom, it says, by Friday, February 8, 2019, EA had seen its largest growth in stock value since 2014 on the basis of Apex Legends' sudden success. Again, it's out the gate. It's hot right now. You ask where I see it going. I think it's a mainstay. I don't think it's going anywhere.
I think it's the next big one.
I think it feels like the next big one.
Yeah.
I don't think that Fortnite's just going to go away.
No.
If there were four of them, and there's a PUBG, there's a Fortnite, there's the blackout mode from Call of Duty, and there's this, I think they all exist. I don't think that the Call of Duty people and the team behind them are anticipating blackout or that game going anywhere, which is fair. Fortnite's going to keep doing its thing, and it's going to have its fan base. PUBG, believe it or not, still has a fan base. People still play that game.
The most popular game on PC.
And now Apex Legends is here, and they're going to have their group.
How much money have you guys spent on this game?
$0 so far.
What do you think about that long term?
When I played on Xbox, I got a free $10 because I was in EA Access. So they're like, hey,
here's $10.
Yeah, you pay us money already.
I'll probably spend, when they're right now, I didn't see anything in the stores that I had to have. Out of the four games, Fortnite's the one I've spent the most money on because there were cool skins and weapons and things that
you can actually see yourself in those skins.
Yeah. In this game, you're the things you unlock are like quibs that when you're about to. Oh, you can also do kills.
It's very much like Overwatch in the sense that like you have things that they say whenever they're taunting. Right? They have banners that post whenever they win that are unique. Of course, they have
Weapon
custom
skins, outfits.
all that kind of stuff. It's very much closer to Overwatch than how Fortnite is, and to the point in the store, right? Sure, like Overwatch really doesn't have where you can buy a particular skin just straight up for the store, but you can tell they're kind of going more to that design of they would rather you buy the loot boxes, because the loot boxes themselves are only 100 credits per box, right? Versus when you go to the store and it's to buy a skin that's just being available right there, it's way more expensive than what you would probably spend on something like Fortnite.
But what's it give you that, like somebody opined that the Fortnite will continue to be the cash cow because when you buy things in Fortnite, you can see them. You can see them on screen.
Yeah, that's fair.
And you can enjoy them on screen.
Sure,
in
but
a first person perspective, you get you might see them diving towards the earth in the outfit you buy. But other than that,
you see the guns you pick up,
and that can hurt the revenue going forward.
I can
so it
see
doesn't
that.
really matter how many people are playing when you're not generating the revenue to demonstrate that many people are playing.
I would argue against that, because if they're smart, and I have to imagine they've looked at the formula and they know this works. Like I said, I think they're going like Overwatch. Overwatch is also primarily, outside of like 2 characters, is primarily a first-person game, right?
Correct, yeah.
And the way you do that is, again, kind of like how Fortnite does and all these other ones. You have seasons. You have limited things that are only available for a certain time. And I'll tell you this, people do not care. Like, that is the appeal of it, is to have something someone else does. And I'll tell you, sure, they might not see themselves as they're going around doing it, right? It doesn't matter, because the fact of the matter is they know if they beat someone and someone sees their banner or whatever on there, or their character that's got this custom skin that only 5% has, or the fact that when you get killed, like you look over and the person you killed, you're like, whoa, that has a cool outfit on that guy. What is that? Where do I get that? Like, that's how these games work.
Yeah.
But, I see your point, but Overwatch came out a good 6 months before Battle Royale was in the conversation. It developed the fan base. It developed the following. So, I mean, I would, as a caveat to that, I would say that there's exceptions, and Overwatch is not necessarily competing in the Battle Royale space.
No. But they understand how that works. My point is, like, it's about making money, and that game has consistently made money. I think that's
any
what they're
reports
going for
that we've seen on money generation for Apex yet?
Not yet.
No, but I'm sure it's doing.
I do want to see that. I see. It's funny because I mean, like always, I see both points. I see both sides. It's not like Fortnite on the custom skins. We're going to beat that to death, of course.
Yeah.
But it works in Apex Legends.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you pick up your gun that you've got a skin unlocked on, or you see your banner on the load screen, or you unlock this new thing that he says when you're about to do what's it called when you knock somebody down?
Oh, those finishers or whatever?
It's got finishers, too.
Yeah.
We didn't bring that up, so you can say really cool things right before that happens.
Yeah.
So you do see it, though not as prevalent as like your Fortnite guys running around.
People in the end, like I said, I think once they start rolling out seasons and doing that, like they're calling this preseason right now.
Yeah.
Once they start doing that, you're going to see people are gullible and they like to spend money to get things. And if you're telling them like, oh, $10 gets me 10, loot boxes versus, leveling up 10 times, which can take a very long time at this point. People are going to do it, especially if you go, hey, this is only available for the next 3 weeks, so get these while you can.
So next question. I think everybody understands at this point, and I think they're going to write books about this, getting the inside scoop of how Apex Legends actually came to be. But EA's got Anthem coming out and another Battle Royale coming out in the spring for Battlefield. Are they cannibalizing themselves?
Probably, because that's what they do.
Is this part 2 of cannibalization by EA? Possibly.
I'm interested.
I'm wondering if Apex Legends and Anthem don't swim in the same lane.
I don't think so. Like I think Anthem
I think they're fine there.
Yeah,
I really
Anthem.
do.
I think they're still good because they're coming out before Division, and the fact is that you have a bunch of people. Like I was watching Destin Legary, who I think if you go to IGN is probably the biggest fanboy of Destiny of anyone on that site, right? He's the guy who just loves that. And I was watching him last Friday because, it came out on Premiere Origins. You could just play the actual full game. Like there is no time limit. You could just do that. And you could tell he was having a blast, and the guy who was sitting next to him was having a blast. I can
On
tell you
Anthem?
this. Yeah, and I played it for about 4 hours, and I can tell you I was having a blast. You know, as someone who loves that Mass Effect style, and we'll go into that more when we get
That's
to
what
it.
I'm really worried about that, Chris.
But no, it's Mass Effect, but it's different. Is the best way I could say it. But I would tell you, try it out. And,
Mass Effect's a good shooter.
I'm going to try it out.
Okay, I'm holding Friday. We're going to pick up that game.
Okay, I'm going to try it out.
I'm going to hold a gun to your back and be like, buy it.
There's no need to do that.
And then we're going to go to your house and I'm going to be like, install it.
I'm trading in Red Dead for it.
I don't want
You
that
already
game.
traded in Red Dead.
No, I didn't.
I don't want that game to come out Friday.
But
Too much to do.
What do you want to play Friday?
I don't want Anthem. I'm not ready for Anthem. I think it needs some time.
you'll never be ready for Anthem.
Yeah. We'll
But
see.
Thanks, man. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do.
I don't
What does
know.
it mean?
You still haven't beat Mass Effect 2.
That's true.
Yeah. But all in all, this is definitely probably the best surprise in gaming I can remember. Maybe since Fortnite took off, right? Like, I think though Fortnite, even then, it took a couple of weeks because it was so early access.
Couple of months.
Yeah, they had to figure a few things out, you know, and once it did, then it went straight, you know, shot up.
Well, what's
so
funny
quickly.
is we got Twitch pulled up now, and you see Apex up there at the top. Fortnite's right next to it. I remember when PUBG was where Apex was, and all of a sudden this little game called Fortnite was creeping up next to it.
Well,
So this feels like it does feel like the next iteration of that.
when I say this is going to be studied, what I mean by that is the concept of cutting out the middleman, and by middleman I mean social media and games journalists.
Sure.
Because this Respawn did not give anybody the opportunity to spend 6 months to a year dissecting it and scrutinizing it
Right.
and saying red flags here. here's
like,
what
nah.
here's what we're concerned about Anthem. You know, you read those articles all the time. You know, the fact that, you know, the previous game from BioWare was such a disaster that everybody thinks that BioWare's done. Everybody's worried about BioWare now. Anthem and games like it have been subjected to constant scrutiny that Apex Legends did not give anybody a chance to do, and now there's 25 million, probably more people playing it now because of it. I think they've made a case for a strategy going forward, particularly with games like that.
I think you might be right for free to play. Like, if you're doing a free to play game, I don't understand why you would really, you know, unless it's just something you know that if you drop little teasers for is going to get people hyped. Like, I don't think Apex Legends, when you go like, hey, we're making a Titanfall game without Titans in it and all that, like, you know, and it's battle
can't
royale.
explain this.
Yeah, would have been they were smart to hold this off. But on the other hand, like, I think of something, I'm trying to think here, like, if you're Battlefield, right, you have to promote that because you're asking people to buy $60 game. If you don't promote that and people don't know what's coming, that is such a risk for a $60 game to all of a sudden say unexpectedly, when you know that more than likely the biggest day of sales the game will ever have will always be the first one. So it just depends on the I think what is going on, the situation. Now, the bigger thing, as far as what I really do think is the big change, is that Call of Duty, I think, is kind of losing an argument going forward of charging for Blackout if they're going to keep it going. Because, you know, we have the news that's coming up, and there was something that was left out as far as the details of that, and it makes you think they're going to pivot that to be free to play. There's just no way.
They left out.
Yeah, as far as what I didn't mean
News team did not. The news team was not okay with that.
I'm fine. I was just making sure I understood you.
We're good.
He's like, hey, I didn't leave it.
They did, okay?
But no,
That was a point of clarification. That's all.
it just I think, like, I don't see if you're them how you're going to charge going forward.
Yep.
And even then, like, PUBG only can get away with it because of its PC dominance, I think, right?
Yeah.
You've already seen it now on Xbox. It's on Game Pass, right? So you're saying, hey, pay a subscription fee and you've got this game, and they basically gave it away for free to the whole entire Xbox community for a day or like a couple of days. I'm sure they'll do it again, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sony in a couple of months is saying, like, by the way, here's this game for, you know, PlayStation Plus. I think it eventually will go free to play, but they will probably be the last ones. But Call of Duty, if they're going to make this go for a long time, they're going to have to eventually just So you know what? It's free to play now, guys, and that's the way it is.
Yeah, man, that was a good bow. Do we do Richards?
Are you ready to do some Richards?
Can we do it? Yeah, I can do a Richard.
I'd love to know
I'll
what
Rich
your
you.
Richards are.
It's pretty simple for me. It's a 9.5.
Yeah, considering what it is, I'm right there with you.
Yeah,
it's
like-
to me, it's the one to play right now,
Yeah,
and it's good. It's good.
I think it's the
You
best
guys are
of these
so
I've played.
scared of a full-blown Richard.
Well, because you never know.
I don't just give out. I just don't give a 10. That
Easy, yeah.
It takes.
You got to
more.
earn your 10 with Chris.
Yeah,
Give a 10 to Red Dead.
I did.
He
That's
gave
the
it-
last
he gave
time I
it a
did
He
it.
gave it like a 13. What are you talking about?
I think what I didn't even get Spider-Man in 10 last year.
know.
And I love that.
Did you?
We
Yeah,
know.
I gave it like a 9 or a 9.5.
We know, Chris.
Then it wasn't a 10. Come on.
Yeah, and I gave I gave God of War a 10, and I gave Celeste. Those were my 3 last year. I gave it.
What'd I give God of War? 7?
Terrible.
Number 1 game of the year. You guys. So yeah, if you are somehow one of the 5 people that have not picked up this game,
Hey.
Or you were thinking about it, do
Yeah.
it. If you like the games that I kept comparing them to, or you finally say, this is going to be the game I play a battle royale,
yeah,
this is a good one.
yes,
Hop on it.
It's downloaded.
do it,
Do it.
do it,
Do it. Do it,
it.
John.
do it.
Will you play with me?
Yeah, I will.
Well, downloaded it on
Xbox?
Xbox.
I'll play with you on Xbox.
Ooh.
Do you still have an Xbox?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. I saw you signed on. I was like, "What's he doing?" And it was like movie. I was like,
Blu-ray.
I was like, really? I was like, that's funny.
That's
He gets on the Xbox to watch the PlayStation software.
No, it's the Xbox
Blu-ray.
is our living room Blu-ray player.
Ah,
You getting Anthem
Yeah.
on PlayStation?
he's not getting Anthem.
I'm getting Anthem on PlayStation. And
I'm telling you, I'm coming to your house if I get to Friday and you're not logged in on PlayStation on Anthem. I might have taken Friday off.
I gotta. Here's the problem, though.
Yeah.
We got a couple. We're not gonna do Anthem right away, are we?
Well, I'm starting in them because it's very long.
No, I mean we're not doing it like on the show. Like
oh no,
next
no,
week.
no. Yeah.
I can tell you what we're not doing anytime soon.
Oh,
What,
he's still butthurt.
what are we not doing anytime soon?
The one that's a DLC expansion.
Oh my gosh.
That's what he's calling it.
Yeah,
That's
That's
not
basically
fair.
what it is.
it's not fair at all.
It's just we just call it FC on the show notes.
FC
ND. Yeah. POS.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to hear about Far Cry New Dawn, tune in a month and 2 days.
tune in 2020.
One day we'll get there. You guys want to do news?
Let's do it.
Hot off the press and straight to your ears. Weekly Games Chat presents the news.
Wow.
I don't have to read this week.
Yeah, it's all good.
Take a nap.
And since Tony's not listening, if he ever corrects how I read news again, I will put his head through a wall.
Oh, man.
Activision Blizzard updates, people. Layoffs. I stole that from John because he just said it like that because playoffs and whatnot. The company has started the process of laying off staff. According to the earnings call, the layoffs will affect 8% of its workforce, or nearly 800 employees.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. How many are in the Activision Blizzard employment?
Apparently a lot. If 8% is 800.
Okay,
right?
I was going to let you guys do some math, but that's fine. According to Kotaku, a note has been sent to employees by Blizzard President J. Allen Brack, stating, quote, staffing levels on some teams are out of proportion with our current release slate. This means we need to scale down some areas of our organization, end quote. According to the Q4 earnings, that is
Earnings
report, the company stated that it will actually increase the size of development teams on, quote, its biggest franchises, enabling teams to accelerate the pace and quality of content. End quote. Teams working on COD, Call of Duty,
That's Call of Duty.
Candy Crush,
That's Candy Crush.
Overwatch,
That's Overwatch.
Warcraft,
That's some game.
Hearthstone,
That's something based on.
and Diablo are planned to grow by 20%.
Gotta get 45 million people working on Diablo Immortal.
John, you want to tell us about Blizzard? Because that was
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It'll take a lot out of you.
yeah. I'll take the COD, you take the Blizzard, then we'll go to the other
Blizzard?
thing. Okay, let's do the thing.
In addition, Activision announced that Blizzard will not have a major frontline release for 2019.
That's crazy.
Quote, turning to Blizzard, we expect materially lower financial performance this year. 2018 benefited from the release of World of Warcraft Battle 4, Azeroth.
Yeah, BFA as we call it, John.
Nice. Whereas we are not planning a major frontline release for 2019.
Boo. And back on to COD, which is what, Chris?
I love a good COD.
Call of Duty.
Yeah, Call of Duty 2019 has been announced to feature a campaign.
Campagna.
The news comes via latest earnings reports, specifically President Rob Kostic. He's not related to Bob Costas, right?
Not at all.
Not at all.
It's completely spelled differently and not even the same. Okay.
Yeah.
Explained that the game will feature, quote, an entirely new,
Campagna.
a huge, and expansive multiplayer world and some fun co-op gameplay, end quote. A lot of changes at Blizzard, guys.
Yeah, that's a lot. That has a lot to digest for one company. I think like the best headline someone wrote this week and said like, what the hell happened to Activision over the last 2 weeks? It's just
record profits.
Yeah, it's like on one hand you have these record profits, but then you're having to lay off 800 people, which is just never a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
And then you're saying like, and by the way, there's, one of your major sides of your company isn't putting out a game this year.
It's not putting out.
Yeah. Which I'm guessing, of course there'll probably be expansions in terms of like more Overwatch characters I'm sure will come out this year, but
I wish we had Josh at least through text message or something right now. He knows the release of World of Warcrafts and expansions.
It's like every 18 months, right?
Yeah, so it makes sense of when it came out in 2018 to not come out in 2019. It's going to be soon enough, but of course we can word it like it's not going to have anything in 2019. And to me, the news for Call of Duty is good because it's actually going to bring a campaign. I mean, it's a mixed bag in it where you're losing some people. There's some things going on here. I don't know. Candy Crush, dude, is going to always make money, right?
Yeah, it's though. I mean, I'm sure it's nothing like terrible for them, but you just go like, well, yeah. I mean, it sounds like you get Call of Duty, and that's about it from them this year, and that's fine. Those people will be happy. The big thing, as we were talking about, though, like they did not make a mention in their notes of a battle royale in this, so that makes me think again that they will probably separate that out to be its own thing and let it be what it is, and then say, okay, let's get back to the more traditional route. Maybe in a couple of years, they'll be like, by the way, now we are finally ready to do Blackout 2 or whatever, right? And then they can re-release that.
Yeah.
I know Overwatch and Hearthstone are on the decline. I think they indicated in their report.
Yeah. I either saw that from you or not saw that, heard that from one of you guys or read it somewhere. And I was kind of like, well, Diablo has been out for 42 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same with Overwatch came out in, 2015?
Yeah.
So you go like...
What do you expect, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of things that have come out since then. So even though they have...
Line of the show.
Yeah, even though there's like healthy player bases for both those games, it's kind of like, wow, right? Where you go, guess what? You're not going to get 13 million anymore on this. You're going to get, 7 million, and they're going to be really, really dedicated to that game. That's
cool. Still good. Yeah. Still good.
I'd be more worried if I got on there and all of a sudden no one was playing Overwatch. Then I'd be like, oh, you really have some red flags going on.
There's a problem.
Yeah. There's like dust bunnies. Not dust bunnies, dust bowls.
Dust
rolling
bunnies.
across the alleys.
Yep. Well, John, it's kind of some bitter news, but this was my favorite news piece of the week.
Oh.
So I would like for you to read it for me.
You ready for this?
I am. Oh,
All
yeah.
right. Nintendo Direct announcements.
Yeah.
This Sean, I think, would agree. This was like a E3 presentation.
It was amazing. It was legit.
Super Mario Maker 2 was announced with refined gameplay and new features for the Nintendo Switch. The game will be released on April 26th, and you guys can chime in and interrupt me at any time. Dragon Quest XI is coming to Switch with retro graphics options, a new orchestrated score, a new and new storylines for each of the main characters. This is actually being called like Dragon Quest XI S, Definitive Edition, something New Age.
They're being all very square about it.
They're being all very Japanese.
Yeah.
But the retro graphics are literally a top-down, old-school 16-bit game that you can actually play.
You can choose to play that way.
You can choose to play that way. And then
cool.
New orchestration. One of the most frustrating things about the game is the constant same music over and over. So hopefully that new orchestration will add some some variety to the game. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that does on Switch. I'm almost done with the game. I had to stop playing it because of other things that we do here. But that's
we do things.
We do a lot of things here. Super Smash Brothers 3.0 update is coming this spring. That's all we really know.
That's when that one.
I know Joker's coming.
They hinted that Joker's
5.
Finally going to be there.
Yeah. We got a butt shot of him.
Yeah, so that was there. That's all we really know because they did it really fast.
Yeah,
it was a thing, and then they moved on.
Sean, this actually got my interest. I've never played a Fire Emblem game.
Same.
3 Houses is slightly delayed and coming on January 26th. July 26th.
Or January.
Yeah, January. I said that, didn't I?
Yeah.
The game is taking cues from Harry Potter in a school-like setting, which is kind of why I'm interested.
It looks
you
really
guys
cool.
can finally play a big boy tactical RPG.
Big boy tactical RPGs?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Kingdom Clash is not
Kingdom Clash.
Whatever it's called. What is it called?
Don't say Mario and
Rabbids Kingdom Clash, isn't it? What it's called?
Don't.
Kingdom something.
What?
No. Kingdom Battle.
The Mario and Rabbids game.
Oh, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So there you go.
No,
that's not right.
I don't think that's it.
Okay.
It's definitely not Kingdom Clash. I'll tell you that much.
I never played it.
Yes, you did.
Nobody really cares about Apex Legends right now because Tetris is the new battle royale on Switch. Have you tried it yet?
It's cool.
It's amazing.
I haven't tried it. Well, I'll ask you in a second.
Yeah.
The new competitive game is called Tetris 99, and it pits 99 players against each other with one player coming out victorious. It's out now and free to play for online members.
Good game.
Like me.
How does it compare to the other Tetris game you played?
Tetris
in 2018?
VR, totally different kind of game. That game was meant to kind of, if you listen to
Cerebral.
the show, this is classic Tetris with classic Tetris music. Your Tetris screen is in the middle. On your left and right are the 98 other players. Yeah. And you're immediately thrust into a game, and you better be on your Tetris legitness because those players, I believe the computer kind of automatically chooses what goes where, but you have players attacking you by them doing combos. So then things are stacked up in your screen, and it's a classic just bing, 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 bing on
Reminds
your toes.
Me of,
it's so addictive. I played probably 10 games in a row.
I didn't get a reaction out of you when I said cerebral.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing.
It reminds me.
Do you know about the cerebral assassin in the WWE world?
Yes.
Okay.
Looking at it reminds me a little bit of when you had the online mode for Pac-Man Championship Edition, where it was like it's fast, it's fun, and it's like, inflict pain on your people because you are really good at this game. So imagine if you're a programmer and you've been like perfecting your Tetris game for the last 30 years.
I'm legit.
Yeah.
I finished in the top probably 15 to 10 a bunch. I finished in the top 10 one time.
So how do they attack you? Explain that to me.
When you're in the moment, it's hard to see it happening, but you'll see like a line come to you from another Tetris screen, and they're completing things. And like I said, they're sending.
Whenever you complete a line, it
kind of goes to somebody random.
So you're just playing your game.
You got to play your game.
You don't have to physically go attack.
And say I want to attack that one, or I want it just does.
It's all random.
It's all random.
But just like I would imagine that you could like power up and do 3 or 4 lines at once, right?
Yes.
And just imagine that coming into your game.
So, or if you get a Tetris, right, and all of a sudden that's going off somewhere to somebody, it's crazy. It's super fun. It's free. If you have a Nintendo Switch, you should have the Nintendo Online, even though we don't have achievements and voice chats.
Can't really stream that easily.
You can't stream that, but this game is worth it. It's
almost
funny.
It's almost like you guys had to pay for it this year.
It's a good shout out to.
I'm really glad my John Prime membership really is showing me free.
If I could remember his screen name right now, I'd say it.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how much fun. Puyo Puyo Tetris had a battle mode online.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like that with its intensity that you have to be on your game really quick. Yeah. I love it. It's really good.
Okay. Well, this one in particular.
No one cares about this one.
I don't know about you guys. I thought about immediately Brian Altano when I saw this announcement. Link's Awakening returns. There's actually a video of Brian Altano watching this reveal. It's like a child in a candy store. Link's Awakening returns. The classic GB game is coming, and Sean, that's Game Boy.
Yes.
Is coming to Switch with a full-on 3D remake. It looks to be a continued improvement of the excellent Link Between Worlds. Better yet, the game comes out this year. Joygasm.
Dude.
This one, I mean, a lot of people say that Majora's Mask is the darkest game in the series. This one definitely rivals that. Mm-hmm. It's kind of an odd duck. There's like, it's completely euphoric and some sort of, it's literally a dream world. I mean, it's just, it's the kind of thing where you wake up from a dream and you go, why was a chain chomp in my game? Why did I see Mario in a portrait? All this weird stuff happens in this game, but I cannot wait. Fundamentally, because we're getting another Zelda game, guys, in 2019. Hopefully, it's not delayed. But this one completely deserves a remake and deserves a chance to be rediscovered. Because with this one, I think overall, younger people just remember Minish Cap and Oracle of Seasons, Oracle of Ages, which are all amazing games, and I hope those things get similar treatments. But this one was sort of the first attempt to do something like this on a handheld, and it was actually supposed to be, originally it was supposed to be a sequel to Link to the Past, but they just started tinkering around with it and doing weird things to it.
I'm trying to think what they have left.
It looks great
to remake. like because it's been clear to me, at least for some time, like that while they're always working on a new Zelda further down the line, right?
Yeah.
Or the fact you had Between Worlds, which is definitely a sequel. It kind of like if you look at the history, you're like, well, you did Wind Waker, you've done Majora's Mask, you've done Ocarina of Time, right?
Skyward Sword.
John and I both. It's Skyward Sword.
Twilight Princess got a remake.
Yeah, it's got to be Skyward Sword soon. It's got to be.
Maybe. I'm wondering though, like for instance, if they will at some point decide to do the actual original Legend of Zelda from NES, or
I think they get so
Link,
much
or
blowback
just
for that,
or just straight up Link to the Past. Of course they did Link Between Worlds, but like people love that game, and I could definitely see them making that at some point.
My only nitpick, and please, it's just a nitpick. I don't like Link's eyes in this game.
They look different.
They're like dots. They're almost like a what are they? Remember those
you
claymation?
Heard that, Zelda fans, kill him.
Remember those claymation?
Yeah, I know.
Claymation Christmas shows.
Yeah, like Rudolph and stuff.
It's just weird looking. But other than that, the game looks gorgeous.
Do you remember those claymation Christmas shows?
Sorry.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
Herbie the freaking dentist.
Yeah, really.
Speaking of really, Platinum has a new action game called Astral Chain, and it looks great.
It does look great. John's right.
Quote, as part of a police special forces unit in a multicultural futuristic city, players work together with a humanoid special weapon Legion in a synergetic action system of battle and exploration, end quote. It's coming to Switch on August 30th.
Hopefully it's good. I kind of like with Platinum, I just always wait and see what it is. And like there are some that come out from them and you're like, wow, this is amazing. And you get the others where you're like, this was an idea that seemed amazing at some point. And you're like, okay, it is what it is.
Interesting. They after they showed this trailer,
it's an exclusive too, John, by the way.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
After they announced this, after you saw the trailer, they announced that Bayonetta 3 was still in development, although they didn't show anything. And I don't know if people caught this. The very next day, the director of Bayonetta 1 and 2 left Platinum Games.
Oh, I didn't catch that. That's very good, John.
Fact.
Yeah, that's good.
Interesting.
Demos finally are currently available for Astral Chain. No, that's not right. That's not right. Yeah. I'm sorry. Astral Chain is not the demo. It's the Machina.
Oh.
It's the Machina game. I forget the full name of the game, but it's the Machina game.
Daemon X Machina.
Thank you. Daemon X Machina and Yoshi's Crafted World. And I texted Sean to try Yoshi's Crafted World. Chris, I encourage you to do the same. It is delightful.
It is delightful.
Solid.
It's solid.
And it's actually quite creative. Now, the only worry I have is that it's going to be that easy the entire game.
That was what the preview today when I saw it on IGN. That's what they were saying. They're like, "Hey, it's a really beautiful, fun game, but it's a little bit easy."
But it's still fun because you're finding things.
But they played the demo like everybody else. I mean, to say it's easy,
that's all we got.
Mario Brothers is easy the first level. I mean, let's just be honest.
There was one that I did want to bring up. Do you mind if I do?
Yeah, I think I missed a couple.
No,
I just tried.
It's fine. Yeah, this was an outstanding list, but it just reminded me of things I got excited for. Box Boy.
True that.
Looked super cool.
Yeah, I saw that. That looked good.
And when it comes to Switch, it's going to have Box Boy and Box Girl, which is cool. It's going to be a co-op mode. I love Toad.
Yeah, that was interesting.
You got some new DLC.
You got some actual co-op.
A co-op patch,
game.
and you got a free co-op update, and then there's going to be a paid DLC in March, which is cool. I was very excited to see more of Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which I'm going to buy that game. It's an exclusive. It looks amazing.
Summer, isn't it? Summer?
Yeah.
I'll say this. I'm looking at it, and I don't know. I'm that's the one of all the ones I saw. I was like, I'm going to wait and see on this.
That's fair.
And that's awesome.
I've never played one before.
Yeah, I got burned so bad on Ultimate Alliance, too. That was such garbage.
Was it?
Oh, yeah. They rushed it out. But, I'm kind of like looking at it, I'm like, well, this definitely feels like a game that was funded by a major publisher, right? Just so it could be made. So I want to see if it actually turns out to be good. But really the thing we should be talking about the most from this, Super Mario Maker 2. John, it appears they figured out a way to make this game.
Not only did
work
they
on
bring
Switch.
it, they brought a second one in its own thing.
Okay. Two things on this. One, I want you to listen to any episode we've talked about this.
Yeah, we've said it, Chris.
Yeah.
You have not said this.
Have you said
if you look at this trailer, I maintain that I was correct. They cannot port this game to the Switch.
Yeah.
And the trailer dictates that I was 100% correct.
Or maybe they just decided to go ahead and move on to the next one.
They figured out a way to make it to make a new title work on Switch.
Yeah.
You guys the whole time were maintaining that you can do the dual screens. You kept maintaining that.
Well, I'm sure it's still the same engine. To me, it just
Engine,
more.
of course.
To me, it just
Mechanics,
sounds
of
like
course.
they made a decision. Like, look, we're making a second one because the first one was so successful. Why do we need to port this if it's going to be ready by this date? Right. That's probably what they decided versus dividing the team up and slowing everything down to port one while you're trying to get the other one out and ready. But that said, what they've actually shown of this game just takes everything that was in the first one and just says
It looks so good.
Yeah,
It looks so good.
when you see them going up the hill and then jumping down and hitting 20 of those.
Super awesome.
Yeah, it just looks so cool.
I'll put money right here and now. The definitive edition of this game, people will look back and go, the Wii U was just the magic place to do this game. I'm not saying they can't make it work, but it's just unfortunate that they did not release Super Mario Maker as a launch title for the Wii U. It would have sold like hotcakes. I'm not saying it's not going to work. I'm just saying
I feels like you're saying that.
I think
Yeah,
people
it just
are
feels
going
like you're saying that.
This feels bad.
I think people are going to look back and say the gamepad and the functionality of the gamepad and just having it here to look at the screen instead of having to go between wheel menus and the screen on a single screen. People are going to look at this and go, yeah, there's a reason why this was perfect for the Wii U.
But what if you could
Just like it was perfect for the 3DS because you still have those dual screens.
What if you could go to a public place with someone like me and Sean could go somewhere and he's playing the level I make and I'm just sitting there and updating it on my Switch as he plays.
That's super. There's a lot.
That's a wonderful thing.
There's a lot of potential.
Obviously, a wonderful thing.
So we'll see what they do, and I love the fact that
Or people race to do the same level, and I can see the ghost of Sean if he's ahead.
And
of
we're
me.
like-
there's so many cool things
Yeah.
that we don't know about this game yet. That you're like, this is definitely going to have an opportunity to take advantage of Switch's portability and also just Nintendo Online and things it can do. The big thing, I think, if they're smart, they take everything that was created in that first one and they just bring it on over because there's no reason why, as far as a game, right, as far as levels,
Well, it's
are
clear that
concerned.
they did.
Yeah,
And added
no,
more
I mean
stuff.
all the top created user levels out there. Just go ahead and put them out there for download for people if they want. That would be the
Hopefully,
smart
yeah,
thing to do.
That'd be good.
and plus, I just get excited at the very end. They show the title for it, and then there's Mario and Luigi. They're two of them, and it's,
Right? Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, and they've added Mario 3D World styles to it. I think they were capable of doing the 3D rendered world if they wanted to. That would have been a game changer. But they're keeping the 2D style with 3D world art.
Yeah.
Cat Mario and all that stuff.
I'll say this: if you're a fan of Nintendo, you own a Switch, or you watch the Nintendo Directs and you haven't yet, there is some more stuff out there that we didn't cover, which is good. It's a very good Nintendo Direct, like John mentioned.
Assassin's Creed 3 remaster looks like garbage.
There were some of the games that did look like garbage. We highlighted some of the better ones, but it was a very solid Nintendo Direct, I think.
Well, the sad part has been like all their ports / remasters of those, like, back when they did the Ezio one, they've all been like, you kind of bare boned this, didn't you?
I disagree.
Always bare boned.
I mean, that's what a lot of people said.
No, I think it was just how it looked on. For some reason, it just wasn't looking great on the presentation.
No.
I mean, I've already got the game because of the season pass for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I'm getting the game in March on Xbox. But it's for some reason that game just looked like it looked dumpage.
Do I get to read this next one because I'm the biggest fanboy of this company?
No.
But I want to.
No, I know you thought you were going to.
I'm taking it.
You can't.
You can't stop
John's
me.
here and I'm here.
BioWare not done with Mass Effect.
Go ahead, buddy.
If you're worried, you can now sleep well at night. BioWare is not done with Mass Effect or Dragon Age. Did that need to be clarified? They teased up a Dragon Age game back in December.
Hey, just read what's on the news.
No, and I mean, like, that was in the news articles.
I don't know what to tell you, man. Yeah, it's weird.
I was like, why is that in there?
Just reporting what we see, Chris.
According to Casey Hudson, Mass Effect is very much alive. In my mind, very much alive.
In my mind.
I'm thinking all the time about things I think will be great. It's just a matter of getting back to it as soon as we can. According to Mark Dara, executive producer on Anthem and Dragon Age, elaborated further, quote, "We definitely not done with Mass Effect 3 or Mass Effect. There's a lot of stories to be told. We could pull on the threads we put down in Mass Effect Andromeda. We could pull on the threads from Mass Effect 3. There's a lot of interesting space to be explored."
And EA chimed in and said, "By the way, you guys are done with Mass Effect."
I mean, I would imagine
no more Mass Effect.
I would imagine, like, the way you get Casey Hudson to come back to take this job is to say, like, look, we will let you make the games you want to, like do one for us. We'll let you do what you want to do. So it's like, I feel like Anthem definitely was a game that probably is being made, probably because, like EA said, we need a Destiny, and you guys would be the perfect ones to make a Destiny world. But on the other hand, they've already teased up Dragon Age. That's coming. And then on the other side, Mass Effect, there's just such fandom. Sure, they were let down by Andromeda. But if Casey Hudson's coming back and they have the A-team for BioWare working on one of these, I don't have any doubt that they could deliver something that's just as good as any of the first 3 games. So I look forward to it. But I'm sure at the same time, if this was Todd Howard at E3, like, you would see the logo for it and you just be like, well, 2030 is not that far away. So.
That's really funny.
This isn't funny.
Until, something not funny. The AFL-CIO is calling for unionization. The AFL-CIO, the nation's largest federation of labor unions, had called on the gaming industry to unionize. The organization cites game sales reaching $43 billion, that's with a B, in 2018, at an average of 3.6 times greater than the film industry's record-breaking box office. These numbers are, quote, built by legions of tireless game developers, ... built new worlds, designed new challenges, and ushered in a new era of entertainment, end quote. In regards to the video game companies and publishers, quote, they're pocketing billions, with a B. While you're fighting through exhaustion and putting your soul into a game, Bobby Kotick and Andrew Wilson are toasting to their success.
Ooh.
There was in air quotations. The statement ends by saying, quote, your fight is our fight, end quote.
Hey, AKA go unionize and join us because we really, really would love your funds. But it's not surprising. To me, and to some extent, it's just a question of when and how they decide, like how much they decide to go. But I don't think it's unavoidable. Like you get this kind of talk, it gets very, very hard to shut it down. unless like some companies are going to be just completely like, look, we're going to fire you if you try to do this stuff here, which would be a very dangerous thing on their move, right?
Should I know who Bobby Kotick and Andrew Wilson are?
Andrew Wilson was formerly a VA. Am I wrong about that?
Okay.
Bobby Kotick is Call of Duty.
Okay.
Now.
Okay, and he's just toasting to success.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, saying like, look, you guys are working your butts off, and they're the ones who are making millions of dollars per year. It's a fair argument to them. Like,
it's a fair argument to AFL and CIO.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, you don't get to make millions of dollars if you don't put up the risk, if you don't put up the capital,
sure,
if you don't put up the resources in order to fill butts in the seats.
I think it's more though
a business owner and a stock owner, all that stuff. You get to make that money because you assume the risk. I don't assume risk when I go into work every day, except for what I'm responsible for my paycheck. This entitlement mentality is just really, really. And look, whether you think they should unionize or not, I think we can agree that this statement from them is gross. Because all they wanting to do is they cited in the beginning of the quote what their motivation is, and their motivation is $43 billion, and they want a piece of it.
Sure,
that's what this is. They don't want a piece of it for their clientele. They want a piece of it for them. It's self-interest. Self-interest by any other name is still self-interest. And this organization is self-interested just like these companies are self-interested.
Sure.
I'm just sick of the gross inaccuracies. They're not pocketing billions. The company's pocketing billions, but they're not even pocketing it. They're reinvesting it and spending it.
But I think like the
and then
argument...
in the next sentence, Andrew Wilson, it's leading you to believe that Andrew Wilson is sitting on billions of dollars, and he's not.
Well, I think it's more of like, to me, the way
I'm done.
Yeah, the way
I love it.
I guess the way I took this is like, hey, these guys are making a ton of money. And I don't think it's like they're terrible people because they're making a lot of money, right? Yeah.
I've never gotten a job from a poor person.
Sure. Like, obviously, if you're the head of something, you should be making probably the most money.
What kind of job are we talking?
But on the other hand, it's kind of like this thing of like, look, these guys are getting their success. You guys should be doing things to look out for your own success. And that's the fair argument to make. It's like, hey, this industry is healthy right now. It's strong. It's making a lot of revenue. Use this. Get yourself some guarantees while you can and some standards to better your life. And that's what, of course, unionization at its core has always been about. It's like, hey, Chevy and Ford, they're going to do fine. John Rockefeller is going to do fine. You should look out for yourself because you will be, very thankful someday way down the line when you have some benefits and you have some cash and you don't have to, like as far as video games, I think, are concerned, you don't have to always worry when you ship a game. Is there, am I going to be the 1 in 3 that gets let go because the game is shipped?
But why shouldn't
things like that? But
honestly, though, why should we assume that we have a right not to worry about that?
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I just don't understand is this moral argument to have your job be subject to termination. Look, I'm in the same boat. If something like that happens to me, I'm devastated. But I hope that I've got the ability, the credentials, and the background to pick myself up and be ready for that opportunity.
Yeah.
Don't we need to, as individuals, just be ready at all times because of that survival motivation that we have? And this industry has proven to me since its inception that this just is how it works. And if you pigeonhole companies like this to demand that you never let lay off people, to demand that when you finish a game and you don't need this overhead anymore, that you can't decrease overhead, doesn't that hurt the product you're ultimately looking to buy?
No, not for the most part.
Detroit is not what it was 40 years ago.
Sure,
Look,
because
dude,
it's a different world.
I'm being honest.
Pensions in the New York City Police Department.
Okay, those are two different things. That's kind of a...
Unions are unions. Motivations are motivations.
I kind of, like, to me, it's more of, for instance, like if you know, hey, there's going to be turnover, right? But you can have standards in there that say, look, we understand companies got to operate, but, like, you have to operate by a set of standards when you do that. Like, you have to entitle these things because people are buying into them and they're paying for them, and you are generating profits off of them, by their work, right? I think that's what it's about for most people when they think of unions. Like when I think of just the various ones, like when I started my very first job, it was a supermarket union. The only time I've ever been in a union in my life. And like
that makes me happy.
But there
I
are
don't know why.
there were certain things I got protection from because of that. Like they couldn't, because I was underage, they couldn't work me at certain times. And I had an injury when I was 17, right? They had to take care of those medical expenses for me because it was doing the services of my job. And that's all in union paperwork. So it's those kinds of things that I think more of what people are looking at, like to know that, hey, you know, just because the company wants the game to come out this year, they can't just say work 80 hours or else. You know, you have to say, you want to do this? Well, this is what you have to pay me. You have to make that kind of commitment in there. And that's what I think hopefully most are looking for. The danger, of course, is, sometimes unions, they do go too far. Like we often think of the worst examples and things like that. And there's a bunch of stuff like in the Northeast that are probably the worst examples, but there are tons of others that exist out there and they're much smaller and they have success because it's about people, for the most part, just trying to make sure they have some coverage for themselves.
Look, it's ultimately not our decision as a consumer. I get that, but at some point, life, economics, all these things are about trade-offs.
Hey guys,
If you want, man,
go ahead.
if unionization happens, two things are likely to happen. The cost of your games are going to go up because developers have to make their money and they're going to make their money. And two, quality of the games could go down. These two things are realities. If you are requiring people to maintain their overhead regardless of what development process they're involved in for the next Call of Duty. This type of industry needs that pliability and flexibility to make these games the best that they can be. And those two things I predict will happen, even though, it's not necessarily a bad thing, that employees, professionals in this industry have a lot more safety net.
I got to tip my hat. Both of you guys spoke very well on that, for real.
Whatever.
When you were talking, I wanted to order my Team John t-shirt. Chris followed up with some great points.
And you wanted to wear
So here I go, right back in the middle like I always am, guys.
Ooh.
Good job.
Old Middle Haywood.
Where I like to be the most. What?
You know what wasn't in the middle?
Boo.
Boo. The various games.
Shoot, John,
that
just in
won.
case you forgot because you talked so much during that one.
Okay.
No, for real. I know that sounded.
Oh, yeah.
That sounded Richardish, and I didn't mean it that way.
Is this mine?
Yeah, it is.
God of War wins at dice. I didn't know they were good at dice. God of War was clearly dominant at this year's 22nd annual DICE. It received 9 awards, including, but not limited to, Game of the Year, Outstanding Achievement in Game Direction, Game Design, Story, and Original Music. By comparison, Breath of the Wild took home 4 awards last year.
That's because it's a piece of garbage.
The only other multi-award winner was the Indie Celeste with Outstanding Achievement for an Independent Game and this is a big one, Action Game of the Year.
Ooh.
Hey, did your game about being on a ship and having a clock thing and
It was nominated for about.
did it win
stuff.
anything?
It may have. I don't know.
What kind of fan are you of that game?
I don't know because I didn't watch the Dice Awards because we were recording. We were recording. Or no, it was during trivia night. That's right. That's why. But
I think it's clear that DICE is not interested in awarding art.
No. Well, these are the kind of awards shows I like. Like, I think back to with the Academy Awards, people go like, well, why do you like it so much? Because they don't have a problem with like a couple of years, like going back in time, Titanic just coming in dominating, or when Lord of the Rings did it with Return of the King, even though I disagreed with that pick. Like, the fact that they're willing to say, hey, it's okay to say we like something better than everything else. We don't have to give out trophies to everyone.
What?
If their voters think that's the best game for all these categories, then that's what they should do. They should reward it. It shouldn't just be like, well, you got one too, buddy. Good job for you.
I don't like that you got one too.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Or that we're keeping score, or that everybody's a winner.
The only score that matters is 23.
Dominate and win. No mercy.
Speaking of no trophies,
Wait, I thought this was him. Oh, yeah.
Boo. The Carlton dance cannot be copyrighted. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So let's just restart this whole thing. Carlton dance cannot be copyrighted. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air star, Alfonso Ribeiro. His lawsuit against Fortnite has hit a snag. The U.S. Copyright Office has called into question the merits of his case. In a recent letter from the Copyright Office's Arts Division, quote, the combination of these 3 dance steps is a simple routine that is not registrable as a choreographic work, end quote. It goes on to state the description of this is ridiculous that I'm reading that. It goes on to state the description of the specific movements and refusing the registration claim. Another letter from the Copyright Office also calls into question the authorship of the dance.
Arthur.
Arthur. Can you do a quick Arthur from Red Dead?
Oh. Hold on there.
Boo. In response, the law.
Oh, wait. What am I going to do now?
In response, the law firm representing 2K and Epic stated, quote, this lawsuit suffers from a host of issues, ranging from a lack of plausible ownership to a lack of substantial similarity to preemption by the Copyright Act.
Yeah.
End quote.
It doesn't surprise me
They're
that
not
they went
playing
this
around.
way.
Yeah, they're not. This is.
Yeah.
I laugh because they go to court about a dance.
Yeah.
And it's
it's a routine.
I keep thinking, unless it gets thrown out, and I would be a little surprised because they, like I said, they have that argument to say no one's ever ruled on this. That's what they're going to say. They're like, we are challenging the ruling that you can't copyright this. But this doesn't surprise me because, yeah, that is what the law says right now. So that should be their position. The question is going to be, will Epic and 2K take a risk or will they just pay out? That's their choice. Sounds like right now they're willing to at least, see how it goes. But at the same time, I thought the NFL was going to go away. They did. And this week there was a settlement. So you just never know. It's the way it goes.
We don't know the settlement, and we'll never know about that one. So,
and I'm sure it would be the same way here.
I'll find out.
It could be $2, Chris, that Kaepernick got.
I'll ask him.
He says he wants a job.
Yeah, he said he wants to play. Yeah, that's true. Hey, John, what if I really wanted to know about Hollow Knight if there would be a sequel?
Well, you could tune it into Weekly Games Chat right now. Team Cherry has announced a full-scale sequel to Hollow Knight called Hollow Knight Silk Song. Quote, almost from the very start. Hornet's adventure was intended to take place in a new land.
What is happening?
But as we dove in, it quickly became too large and too unique to stay a DLC.
It's like he's trying to do Barry White, but he doesn't have the Barry White.
I don't have the base.
Get it low, John. Get it low.
As initially, we do know that. Hold on. We do know that. We do know that makes the wait a little longer, but we think the final fresh world. You'll get.
Why is he turning into Bismarck P?
Dude, you know the narrator from what's the game? Oh my! You can't have
the game will release.
Bastion. You know the guy talking about Bastion.
The boy went down the hall.
The game will be releasing on Windows, Mac, Linux, I say, and Nintendo Switch.
What did you just get the rooster from freaking Looney Tunes at the end there? I say,
it's gonna be on Linux.
My impressions are eclectic. So let's try that again. The game, known as Silk Song, will be released on Windows, Mac, Linux, and Nintendo Switch at launch. So that's cool.
Yeah,
that's a quick turnaround.
Hornet was always like a really.
That's what he said because he
turn around quick.
Turn around
Before this goes low. Before this goes soft.
Right.
Okay. But yeah, I'm excited because one, Hollow Knight was really fun to play, but two, when you played it, Hornet always seemed really BA. So the fact that you actually get to play as her now, that could be very fun.
Coming from Team Cherry.
Yeah. For the record, the way you should have done that, we do know that makes this wait a little longer.
Would you?
It helps that.
Would you wait? I'd wait.
Yeah, you went all
I'd
weird.
wait so hard.
You went all weird with slapping the bass. I don't know what you did.
Sorry, that's how you went. You went that part of him.
I'm talking deep.
Talking deep.
Okay. Well, that's a long final one, huh?
Right?
Yeah.
So I'll go the short one, then let John go the long one, which is not
I hear
real
you
life.
had the short one.
It's not real life.
Thanks, man.
I'll go ahead and tell you that now. It's not real life.
Big audience here. Now they know.
THQ Nordic
I'm Irish.
owns Kingdom Come Deliverance Studio. Warhorse Studios, the developer behind the hit game Kingdom Come Deliverance, has been purchased by THQ Nordic. Along with the acquisition, it was revealed that the game sold over 2 million copies across PC, PS4, and Xbox One. This acquisition also includes the development studio and all intellectual property rights. Those are IP. Kingdom Come is the only release since its founding in 2011. They've been churning them out over there, huh?
It was a passion project for them.
Yeah, it was good. The studio and its properties were acquired for, can anybody guess how much out there in podcast land?
Let's put a 0.4, and then
If you said 37.4 million, you're a genius, because that's how much it was acquired for.
2 million copies.
this is
Their goal is 500,000.
Yeah, this is a smart pickup for a studio like THQ. This is who you buy. Why not?
Yeah.
You know?
I read a little further at later in the day, and for clarification, it looks like Koch Media or Coke Media. I forget how you pronounce
my
that.
God.
The Koch brothers?
No, it's not the same thing.
Cocaña. That's cocaine in Spanish.
It's a subsidiary. It's a subsidiary.
Sorry, Sean.
What did he say?
He said cocaine. That's cocaine.
Cocaine. Yeah.
Cocaña.
It's cocaine.
That's cocaine in Spanish.
It doesn't matter anymore. It just doesn't matter because it's not that interesting.
Chris almost died. It's hilarious because he was inhaling his
I was
little thing.
mid-vape.
Yeah, he was mid-vape.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
need
But
to
you know
quit
what I can
that.
still do?
It's bad
What?
for you.
Finally this week.
Were you done, John?
That's
First
why
of all?
I-
Yeah, it's not. It's really. I gave up.
You were mid-talking.
I gave up. It was. It was worth it.
For the record, it's because I vape I can do finally this week. That's how you get the berry,
John, we
the berry
gotta
one.
go.
Too late. I'm gonna blow it.
Whoa. You should have. Tony never has ever listened to this show, right? Ever.
And it showed.
When we did that,
I listen to his show all the time.
you've been on their show before. Chris has been on their show before. You know who hasn't been on that show?
I've never been on his show.
I thought you had been on that show.
No. No, I have not been on
I have
his
not
show.
been on that show though in like 3 years. Once they kind of changed their format, it doesn't really open itself to having guests on there.
And by format, you mean Betty? I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That's a good joke.
No, I was more so just referring to just how they do. Like they kind of just ramble about a topic, right? It's not really a discussion in a way.
What's different than what we do?
I am offended by
It
that.
feels like 90% of what they're saying is just jokes, and that's cool.
I still like
their
their
Are
show.
we bashing our friends
No,
right now?
I still like that show.
Podcast fight.
I think they're good.
Casey, I still think Superman's better than Batman.
Casey's the best
What?
part of that show.
One of my
What?
favorite things about that show is the podcast chimes in the middle of their conversation, and that's
Yeah.
a cool effect. You should try that out.
Well, we can't because Chris controls
Yeah,
how this is.
Plus,
But we are on Spotify
you know
now
what?
because of Chris.
You know what devs don't control?
That is almost awesome, but you just killed our conversation. But I like it because we're.
Yeah,
I'm
because we're
kidding,
going
John.
long
John,
already.
don't look at John. Don't look
You
at me.
killed my conversation with myself and the audience.
Well, I can't feel my.
We were jiving. We were meshing. We were. Devs upset over lack of PS4
I'm
crossplay.
upset. I'll tell you that much.
Rawr.
This is the finally this week.
Yeah,
He already said that.
yeah, I did.
know.
Our
Developers.
Richard already hit the
Developers.
tables.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Developers and publishers are speaking out on Sony's lack of cross-platform support. Sony has indicated through interview, particularly Sean Layden,
what's that? Oh.
that, quote, people keep saying, why doesn't Sony allow more people to have
It.
It.
it? We're open for business on this one. All it takes is for publishers and developers who wish to permission it as ever, just work with our PlayStation account manager.
Your PlayStation, yeah.
It still works. And they will walk you through the steps. So nobody would have known that was wrong had you just not corrected me.
I know, that's part of the beauty of what we do.
And they will walk you through the steps that we've learned through our partnership with Epic on how this works. I don't believe right now that there's any gating factor on that. I think they're open to making proposals because the Fortnite thing worked pretty well, end quote. Now, last week, the CEO of Chucklefish
I'm trying to think what game they did. That might be the folks
it was
beyond
included,
Stardew.
and I didn't care.
Is it Stardew Valley? It might be Stardew Valley.
Maybe.
Yeah,
sounds
that
right.
sounds right.
The CEO of Chucklefish said in a thread on Reset Era
that popular site
that they did everything in their power to request crossplay, despite their efforts that were in line with what Layden said. Chucklefish was told that it would not happen. Hey, Chucklefish, no, stop it. According to the CEO, quote, "We made many requests for crossplay all the way up until release month. We were told in no uncertain terms that it was not going to happen, and from our side, we can literally toggle a switch and have it working. Of course, policy work might be more complicated for Sony. Just wanted to provide some balance on the issue and say that it certainly isn't a question of developers not having contacted their account managers or having dropped the ball. We were told no," end quote. Somebody somewhere is not communicating.
Someone's
and I would say
a little dirty liar.
If this is Chucklefish, and if this is if Chucklefish is Stardew Valley,
well, almost did it again.
Yeah.
if Chucklefish is Stardew Valley, isn't the timeline not working?
Well, no,
here?
they have a new game that just came out. Yeah, and that's what they were talking about. But that's where I recognized the name was Stardew Valley.
What new game, dude?
I don't know.
I'm going to go to the Google real quick while you guys talk about this.
But yeah, I mean, this is a potential what we would call a controversy, correct?
We do like controversies on this fine podcast.
I mean, look, either Shaun is just doing the PR. Is doing the PR thing, right? And he kind of stepped in it because he tried to simplify something that he didn't know everything that was going on. And therefore, it just looks bad because your PR guy says something. And as far as the public is concerned, the PR guy says something, it's now true, right? That's the standard when there's probably more to it. Or else it's like, no, you're putting out a front on one thing, but really behind the scenes, it means like if EA asked us or Activision asked us or basically major Ubisoft asked us, we'll do it, but we're not going to just do it for any little thing. We want what's ours, and that's it. And if that's the case, that's kind of, some BS. And it's really bad for them as far as on the face right now, because you just go, hey, you were the guys who were most resistant to this, and now this is coming up on you. It just doesn't look good. I'm sure it's not going to be anything goes definitive, but it will be interesting to see if someone else comes forward in the near future and you start to go, uh-oh,
hey,
what's going on here?
If I said Wargroove, would that sound like the game?
Yeah, that is it.
Okay.
Josh was asking me about that game the other day. He was like, hey, you're going to play Wargroove? And I was like, what?
It just came out on February 1st.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that I thought that was exclusive to Switch.
Well, you were wrong. It was released on February 1st on Nintendo Switch, Windows, and Xbox One, and the old PS4 version's coming out later. Yeah.
So it sounds like you can play cross-play on Xbox, PC, and Switch.
It's possible.
Chucklefish.
But yeah. Anything else? We good?
Man.
All right.
You got it down.
Yeah.
I will say that the reception for this game
Pretty
by
good.
Chucklefish.
Great game.
Metacritic on the Switch is an 86. PC is 79.
That's good.
80s.
That's part of the shtick, guys. Game Informer's got a 9.25 for the Switch version.
Ooh.
IGN's at an 8.5. Nintendo World Report, I tell you what, it's a 9.5 there.
Well, everything on their consoles.
What is they said it's been compared to Mega Man. It's
Remastered?
It's
Remake?
Mega Man Tactical. Can
he finish? Please, can he finish?
There's an offshoot of Mega Man. It's Mega Man Tactics.
Okay,
of some
he's
sort.
See, that was a South Park.
I'm not having fun.
The movie.
I was having fun.
The Canadian was
not
like,
having fun
Terrence
now.
and Phillip, can I finish, please? Can I finish? And then there's a big pause, and he's like, okay, I'm finished.
Well, you know what I like to say when John's not having fun?
What?
You want to wrap this up?
Never.
That's the best one yet, man. You keep those coming.
Yeah,
you
man.
keep those coming.
I do. Well,
If you want to write in your thoughts and opinions to Weekly Games Chat, you can do so by writing them to weeklygameschat@gmail.com. That's weeklygameschat@gmail.com. Just like RJ did. You're like, how did he get that? Because he wrote in last week and I remembered his name. He said, yes, more Kingdom Hearts is the name of this.
yeah, he did.
He said, hey guys.
Hey.
Wanted to say a few things after your review of Kingdom Hearts 3.
Say it, baby. Say it, baby. Not my fault. I wasn't here.
He says, first, the cooking minigame can be played at any save point from the menu once you hit the triangle for a save. I did not realize that. Can't remember if it tells you that, though. It probably did, but there's like 50 prompts in this game. So that kind of made it hard to remember every little thing that goes on.
Gotcha.
I will agree that the difficulty seems turned down from the previous games. And lastly, the story doesn't really pick up until after all the Disney levels, which was only bad because you rushed through the game to find the ending. RJ, I've said this before. If your game doesn't pick up to basically the end of the game, that's something I will hold against it every time. I can understand though.
So why do you like Red Dead Redemption?
Because that game was good as soon as I got on
that.
John.
That was good, John. That was good.
But that's all though. I'll forgive your ignorance of this amazing game series. Joking. This was really a fan service, but with all the games available on one system, 1.5 to 2.5 and 2.8 remixes, it's easy for someone to get the complete experience. Game on, except for Chris, giving it a 7. Again, he's kidding. Look,
You gave this a 7?
dude. Yeah.
What did
I thought you said you listened to the
Tony
episode.
gave it like a 7 too.
Yeah, he was like, I tried.
I told you we're the only ones in the world, besides the one guy. Chris was like, "Well, that guy gave it a 1 out of 5." Dude, the majority of what I've seen has been nothing but positive. So
Yeah, I agree.
I guess from more of the critic wise, you're right. It's been more of when I've looked in the fan areas, that's where I'm like, oh dang, because there's been a couple of people have hit, even Andrew. We were talking about. He was like, yeah, I saw some people were.
Oh, Andrew, listen, Mr.
Yeah. But
This is his official name.
RJ, I do get that. Now they've put all those versions out there that have the versions of the game that tie in all those little parts,
like Dream Drop Distance.
Yeah, but I'm not going to go back to replay these. That's the difference. And there's a game I'm playing right now that I have played a little bit of the first and second one. I'm not heavily vested. John, you beat 1 and 2 of those games, right? The one we're talking about next week. Yeah, it took me all of reading the wiki to get the full main plot points, because there's multiple endings to those games, and then just literally playing the game for 5 minutes to get what my motivations were and everything that was important to that world at that moment, and I'm fine. And I just think some games have higher bars to entry, and this definitely ended up being the one that I've come through story wise that might be the hardest. Yeah, if you want to go play those games, maybe you get everything you want. Personally, I feel like I played 1. I played most of 2. I feel like I should have been able to get it, without having to go back and play extended editions that have 95 new things that I really don't care about, because I really just care about Sora, Mickey, or Goofy and Donald. That was what I cared about in those games. But I'm glad you enjoyed it, sir.
You okay?
FRJ.
You seem a little worked up, Chris. That's awesome. Hey, there was a question I said when John got back we'd get back to him on. Do you remember that?
Yes, and I was going to make sure to pull that up, but you should first pull up our Twitter. And Sean, where can people find us on Twitter?
Oh, at Weekly Games Chat on the Twitters. Shout out to Tony again for joining us last week for the Kingdom Hearts episode.
For sure.
Geek Versus podcast, which he is a part of. He's a host on. Tweeted at us that they had just finished. He had, obviously, a fun podcast with 2 out of the 3 of us. It was good. It was good seeing Tony. Dravin actually replied to Chris's tweet about what we had talked about last week, saying it's out there, go listen to it and all that stuff. And he said that, or they said, I shouldn't assume, they said they've watched Abducted in Plain Sight 3 times, and the twist with the father is still a jerker each time. Whatever that means. I don't know what that means yet.
That's perfect.
Gaming Mud was looking forward to hearing the show.
The one also that Tony sent to your wife is top notch.
What are you talking about?
It was the father, as a relief pitcher.
It's
like when you call in your top.
I heard there's a scene about a father and they park a car and they're like, I need some release or some stress relief.
Some relief.
Or whatever that, and I know what it means.
Hey,
so
I'd do it for you.
Would you?
Nope.
I'd do it with no hands and I'll stop now. So back
my big toe.
Back to Gaming Mud. I was looking forward to hearing our show last week about Kingdom Hearts, though they won't have a F long blank G. So you fill in the blank there. Clue what they will be talking about. I think that's funny because apparently even if you did know, you don't know.
No one knows.
At Zexon 389, they said they listen to our podcast when they go to film their school sports games. That's pretty dope. Cool. They also just got Assassin's Creed Odyssey after the praise they got from John.
Yes.
On the Goaty episode. And John, Goaty means Game of the Year.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I thought it was the band Godier. Remember that band?
We'll see you next week. See
y'all later, everyone.
That's the somebody that you used to know?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
Yeah.
Brought it back.
I brought it back. I'm DJ. That's what I do. Big Riff was very hyped that we're talking NBA basketball. So they're adding 2 cents. 1. Actually, there's 3 cents, sir.
Okay.
1, don't sleep on Damian Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers.
Oh, man. Damian Lillard. Mikey, my best friend, or one of my best friends.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Ooh.
Yeah, second best friend to Josh. He has been a huge Damian Lillard fan,
Chris.
for years.
2, we mentioned Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and don't do that. They're terrible.
yeah, they're struggling ever since.
And 3,
Jimmy Butler left.
Don't do that.
F word the Lakers forever.
Yeah, well, people have been saying that for 20, 30 years now, I guess.
Big Riff also says because of Apex Legends, which he was not a huge fan of, they jumped back into Titanfall 2, and it's still amazing.
Ooh.
We all should really circle back and play a few rounds because the game is so solid and feels so good.
They've said, because it's on EA Access and all that, right? Mm-hmm. And they've said ever since that came out that they've seen a huge player spike in their populations. People going back to Titanfall 2.
It's very dope. Just like this tweet from C. Garcia T13 or T13. At Weekly Games Chat, longtime listener, wondering if you've taken the leap back into Destiny. If you need a fire team member, I got your back. Sad news, sir. We did not jump back into Destiny, even though I have.
You know what I did?
Been close.
I got that for free right when it was on PlayStation Plus. Mm-hmm. And yesterday or the other day when I finally downloaded Anthem for PlayStation, I deleted it. So there.
We were tagged in a NRG Esports tweet or link to it, and to celebrate Apex Legends, NRG's Apex Legends squad, they were giving away 20,000 Apex coins. So at Gaming Mud, which is one of the people that follow us, mentioned us, and it said, "What's this?" And then basically Gaming Mud, somebody said, "What's this?" when we were mentioned it.
No idea.
And then Gaming Mud said, "Me trying to win," which was funny. He was trying to get that money. I had to figure that out real quick because I'm dumb, and you had to listen to me do that. Okay, let's see if we got anything. No, I'm gonna go ahead and go to followers. I don't see any direct messages. Let me make sure Chris didn't read one.
I don't think I saw one.
No, last one we did. We figured that out, so that's good.
Yeah.
Let's go check out our followers. We're moving on up there, guys. That was to you and John. So you say that's when you guys say cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did it.
At Brandon001. Thanks for the follow, following you back.
So wait, he's the first Brandon?
He might be. And he likes video games. So that's cool.
We do too.
It's pretty cool, right?
Nice.
At Gary Greco Jr. Thanks for the follow. Following you back. I've followed you back, and it's pending because you're a smart person. At Nam Bowen TV. They are a gamer
Now you're
blogger.
just making up words.
It's right there. If you can say it better, say it.
Nambam.
Gamer, blogger, analyst. That's pretty dope. That's almost like Chris.
Just a little bit different subject material.
At the Cucumber 91, Twitch affiliate, blind playthrough runner, machinist, and hashtag Twitch Kittens member.
Twitch Kittens.
Twitch
Machinist.
Kittens.
Nice.
Thanks for the follow, following you back. And folks, if you're going, I want to be a part of when Shaun does the Twitch stuff, follow us, say things to us.
Twitter stuff.
Twitter stuff, yeah.
Yeah, not the Twitch stuff.
Did I say Twitch?
Yeah.
I'm dumb. We should do a Twitch weekly so people
We
can
do
watch
still
us.
have a Twitch, but we just don't.
No, we should be on the Twitch.
Oh.
There's an area for podcasts.
Never. I'll tell you what, you buy me a big...
Here goes.
You buy me a big, like...
He wants a green screen, then he wants some
No. I just want you to buy me a T-Rex outfit, and if I can wear that, we can do
What
it.
about just a mask?
Dude, I would totally
No,
let him
I
wear
want
that.
the full outfit.
So they'd never know what Chris looks
But
like.
Exactly.
it'd be awesome when we'd be us, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It would be his shtick when we go
That's
to like,
right.
let's do it. You want to do it?
Yeah, I do want to do it.
I'll be the mass.
you.
I'll be the mass singer.
But yeah, he'll be like the new version of the Masked Singer. That's awesome. Thank you guys so much for all the love on the Twitters, though. And Chris may have something else for us now before we wrap up our program this week.
Yeah. So kicking off from last week, we got asked this on Facebook, and we decided, hey, let's hold this till John's back. But Josh wrote us in on one of our posts here on Facebook, and he said, "What up, Chris the Wizard, Shaun the Ranger of the North, and John Baggins, bearer of the One Ring? You, not far.
Fly, you fools.
Fly, you fools. Bring me wood and oil. It's been a while since I wrote you People of Gondor. I recently played Resident Evil 2, and I think it's great and challenging. I tried to get an S rank for Claire Bagane since I finished in 4 hours and saved twice. The question for all three of you, since I mentioned a lot about Lord of the Rings, if all three of you went on a long journey to take a game to Mount Doom to destroy from existence, what game will it be? Thank you, guys. And here's a quote from Lord of the Rings. I add a spin to it. You are the luckiest, the canniest, and the most reckless podcast I've ever listened to. Bless you, laddies. I can't remember. Is that Gimli?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that'd be like,
You are the luckiest, the canniest, and the most reckless podcast I've ever listened
you have to toss me.
God bless you, laddies.
It comes in pints?
I recently finished Resident Evil 2 with Claire in 5 hours with a B rank.
You're nothing compared to him
Yeah.
because he's an A and you're a B.
I'm going to keep working on it because I want that infinite ammo.
What game would you destroy, though, at Mount Doom? For me, it'd be The Last Guardian.
I wonder for somebody like our friend Mike, it'd probably be Firewatch.
Probably. Or actually, I think John would just toss all the interactive games in the Mount Doom.
Probably Mass Effect 2.
That just sounds hurtful. More reality, though, after playing it for a minute, Crackdown 3 can go into Mount Doom, and I'd have no problems with it. Yeah.
This was kind of tough for me. I tend to not just hate games or
Yeah.
it would have to be. It's possibly 2.
Boo.
Well, 3.
Boo.
Zombie U.
Ooh. Okay, I'm okay with that.
Had potential, and I hate that it missed that potential.
So you would throw it in the lake of fire?
So yeah,
Where bad folks go when they die.
But Bomberman,
Yeah.
Bomberman Switch Edition.
Yeah, a lot of people. Man, Penny.
You made me forget the third one.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what just happened, but I've forgotten everything.
Well, I'm kicking it old school. Battletoads can suck it.
Oh,
Not that I don't love the first 2 levels of that game,
Yeah, it's hard, though.
and I'm looking forward to what Xbox does with the new game coming out. But that game sucks it. And the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the NES can also.
Are you serious right now?
You can't get through a certain level. It's impossible.
That's not the
now?
Turtles in Time one then, right?
No, it's not the Turtles in Time. This is the original one
I'm with
on
you.
the NES.
You're talking about the SNES one or the NES
Oh
one?
my God.
Oh, God.
Hey, Chris.
The guy wants to get punched in the
Die.
face. Those two games can suck a big one.
You did go old school.
I did.
The other one, we did get one other message for this week on there.
Nice.
From Kenneth,
What up, Kenneth?
right? At first I read, I was like, is this Kenny? from who we know. But then I was like, no, that's not Kenny. It's like Kenny's been silent every time we bring up games at lunch, and now he's just like, let me write in on Kingdom Hearts.
I've pre-read this.
Yeah. I actually know
I thought this during the show.
Yeah.
The first one.
Hey guys, just got through listening to the fantastic episode, but I'm kind of disappointed. Tony promised a great story about his game testing days, and we never got it. If you can tell him he owes us on a Geek Versus episode on that subject, thanks, guys. If you actually go way back in this time machine.
I think they've said that they want him to tell it.
Yes, if you go way back. See, how bad is Tony's memory? So he was on the very first episode, right? And before you guys came in, like John, you might have done the E3 episode with me and Chris the second or third week right over at Tony's place. Mm-hmm. But it was way before Shaun even recorded anything. Tony did another episode with me and Chris. And I want to say it might have been when Call of Duty or something like that came out. And when he was on that episode, if you're willing to go comb, and you might have to, it might not be on iTunes because iTunes only holds the last 100 episodes. If you're willing to go back and comb through the actual Libsyn page of ours, or maybe check Spotify, because I'm not sure if Spotify has a limit as to what they hold on your library. He actually does tell that story. He talks about his time at Activision. He tested a bunch of games. He talks about some of the more interesting things that we thought was really cool.
It was in the first 10 episodes.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's way, way back. So the sound quality is going to be terrible. And as terrible as I am every week, it's going to be more awful because I was like, I'm doing a podcast.
You were like a baby deer just learning how to walk.
Everyone's got that thing, right?
Yeah, it's fine.
It's always interesting, like when we bring back our friends after they've had that first episode, because the confidence, they're like, okay, it's just talking with my friends.
I refuse to listen to the first time I said words on this podcast.
Remember when you one of my favorite things was when we were doing it at Chris's still, right? And it was like rotating you two, and you did that thing where you put the bandana on and shades because
I mean, we've said it on here before, but Chris says, when I think of you as some redneck with like Ray-Bans on and a American flag bandana or something. He said something. I find the things at a Dollar General,
and he completely forgot it.
I come back the next week and I go, hold on, I gotta make myself presentable, as to how you see me and remember me. I come back in the room and he goes, take that off now. What are you doing? He just completely hates it. And I go,
I remember that.
You know what's funny?
You remember that?
Yeah. From the episode.
Yeah.
You know what's even funnier? Like, if you think about it now, so back then, you were totally in no way had something like a redneck outside the factory from Alabama, right? Now, think about it. You ride motorcycles. You could actually get away with the glasses and the headband. It would make sense.
It could go down.
Please
right?
do.
You want me to do that for you?
I want you to wear a clamshell.
Like a little it's a turtle.
I'll tell you.
Is it? Sorry.
Yeah, like a. Yeah.
If you start drinking PBR, I'll buy a motorcycle and we can do that together.
Well,
I want to see him on a motorcycle.
If I can hold a PBR with my leather motorcycle vest,
Yes,
then I'll do it.
But that said, this is a long one. This has been. I actually screwed up the last week. I said last week was episode 192, but this is actually episode 192 of Weekly Games
That's fine,
Chat.
dude. You got a lot on your plate.
I know. I'm a busy man.
You literally have nothing on your plate.
No, so much.
I know. I'm just kidding.
But if you like the show, subscribe to us on iTunes or whatever podcast service you use, including Spotify.
Yeah, that's nice. That's
Keep
new.
putting that out there
That's
for
new.
people.
Yeah,
it's out there for you. And you will get a new episode just like this one every Wednesday. While you're there, if you want to drop us a rating or a review, it does help people find the show. It's proven.
You know what else helps, Chris?
What?
Word of mouth.
Yeah. So talk to your friends.
Talk to people for us, please.
Make us like a pyramid scheme where you have to consistently get 7 people to come back.
Isn't that illegal?
They don't know that. But anyways, If you want to write in your thoughts and opinions, as always, you can write them to weeklygameschat@gmail.com. That's weeklygameschat@gmail.com. And if you want to follow us on the social medias, we are on the Facebooks and the Twitters, both at Weekly Games Chat. If you go on there, you want to see, like, you're like, oh man, I love this fancy art, and you want to have an idea of what the fancy art will be for the upcoming episode of the show, you can usually go there around the weekend time and at the latest Monday or Tuesday.
What is he doing?
And you can check out that art. I'm trying to give them reasons
like
to go to
show
Facebook.
on PBS.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to post an old school picture of us. Remember when we had our photo shoot?
Oh God!
Don't you do that.
That's going down.
No.
You better put a
I'll put something over your face.
yeah, put like a T-Rex head over my
You're
face.
holding John's holding a Switch controller, I think.
Yeah, I had the
Wii
Xbox
U
controller.
A Wii U pad, the whole
Wii U
pad.
gamepad.
Yeah, that's old school.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's getting late. Sun's getting low.
It's cold outside. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll simply say game on, John.
Game on, Chris.
Game on, John.
I got the hardest part. Game on Chris and game on Shaun.
How's that hard? Game on,
Yeah.
John.
I do too.
Oh, wow. I remember when I started doing two things at once. Wait, what? Your mom's box.
Peace out, everybody.
Thug Life?
There it is.
There you
It's
go.
been a while.
Yay!
Farewell.